What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 25 of C4SVillains. I am your host JB and I am here as always with my co-host Legendy Vash, and we are here with two very special returning guests, Abe and Steve. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again for Loki episode 5 review and breakdown. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. I'm in full JB mode today. So anytime I say something lit, I'm gonna swear my mind.
For me, it's just good to be back. I've been out for 2 episodes, I believe, so it just feels good to be back and here talk with the boys. And instead of hearing the conversation after they're not, after they're not live, and I could actually talk with them and talk about the conversation, hear the great theories, the bad theories, and tell them like, hey guys, just say you're wrong. Trying to point out you guys are wrong.
Look, Vash, if you missed another one, I was just gonna take over for you. I was gonna message you. Look, dog, I might as well I'll replace Vash for you. Don't worry, I'll hold it down. I'll hold it down. So good to have you back for sure, baby. Good to have you back. And it's always good to be here, as always. I don't have any of JB wine with me right now. The other stuff I have, I'm not sure if I should be showing that off. So I'm just gonna drink some Powerade and enjoy.
Yeah, I just got some water with me right now. I might get some wine later though.
I'm gonna ask you guys, are you more Powerade or are you the other one, Gator, the OG?
Definitely Gatorade.
Gatorade.
I'm whichever one is cheaper at the store. Whichever one is cheaper at the store. That's what I am.
Good answer, good answer. Because for me, it depends on my mood. Some days I'm Powerade, some days I'm Gatorade. But if I have to decide flavor-wise, Powerade. But if I have to give you that boost and with the energy, Gatorade.
And I mean, I'll tell you all this. I cut my John regardless, whether it's Powerade or Gatorade. I always have to cut it in half with some water. It's too sweet, though.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Really?
I think it's just the football player in me. That's what we always used to do. We always used to cut our John, dilute it a bit, and I've just been so used to that. But, yeah, I could never just drink it straight. Even this new one that I opened up, I drink a little bit. Then I was like, all right, fill the rest of the water, shake it up, put it in the freezer, because it's over 100 degrees, dog. It's over 100 degrees. I'm in the chef coat, and I'm literally cooking as we're going to be cooking on this show. So I guess it comes full circle, everybody. But, yo, again, just really excited to be here. This episode was so lit, JB. I mean, it was the least informative episode out of all that we've gotten so far, but oh man, it was honestly my second favorite episode behind episode 3. Easily
what I love is that each episode gets better and better, and I feel like it just throws the stakes. And I love how Loki in this episode 5 said, like, it's been days. Wait, I don't even know. It's been months. I don't even know when was the last time for New York. I'm like, damn, my dude, I get it. Because, like, with time, it works differently for the whole TVA. So, like, you don't really know how much time it has been. So, it's very confusing. So, it's like, imagine how many hours or just weeks it's been, or probably seconds.
Yeah. It's definitely, I feel like it's gotta had been a while, because Morbius and Loki have like a pretty good relationship. They're like, you're my friend, and they feel like really good about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's gotta been a while. It's gotta been at least a week or two, at least.
Yeah, and we don't, and like Vash was saying, like, we don't know what that is compared to the outside world, right? So we don't know exactly how much time it's been from the outside compared to where they are at the TVA. But we're gonna break down everything that happened in this episode, all the Easter eggs, all the ones that you noticed, all the ones that you didn't. I watched the episode like 4 times just so I can see as many Easter eggs as I could, and even on the 4th time I found 2 more Easter eggs that I didn't find before. So I'm pretty sure if I watched it again I would find another Easter egg. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the What If trailer. We got the new What If trailer that dropped, I believe, yesterday, and it was amazing, man. Like, it was such a great feeling to hear Chadwick's voice again. Like, as heartbreaking as it was so amazing to see T'Challa as a Ravager, and then just to watch Chadwick get to give us a new side of T'Challa. Like, that was one of the biggest moments for me. Another one of my favorite moments was getting to see Peggy Carter as Captain Carter. That was so fucking dope, watching her kick ass with the shield. And what I'm hoping is Excalibur. I'm gonna keep putting that out into the universe. Her riding on top of Howard Stark in the Mark I Iron Man armor. Like, that's so much shit that happens in this trailer. They redo the 360 shot from the first Avengers movie, and it has Gamora wearing Thanos' armor and his blade from Endgame. There's so much crazy shit. So, Steve, I want to start with you. I want to know, like, what were some of your favorite moments from the What If trailer, and maybe tell me which one you're looking forward to the most.
So even in the very first moments when you see Killmonger rescue Tony Stark, and you're like, okay, so that was different, you know what I'm saying? But you know, he was in the military, so he's like got all that combat experience. So that was just dope just to even start. But I am excited to see the Marvel Zombies is what it looked like. It looked like a lot of zombies. I don't know if people caught that, but it was like quick, and I was like, okay, I'm really interested to see how they play into that, because I've always gone to cons and I've seen Marvel Zombies, like there's like these different booths for Marvel Zombies, and I see the artwork and stuff, but I didn't know it was real, like really in the comics and stuff like that. So actually just seeing that in the trailer, I was like, oh, that stuff wasn't fan made, that was real. So I was like, okay, I definitely need to check that out. Obviously hearing T'Challa and just, you know, Chadwick Boseman again, you know what I'm saying? That's just something big in general. But just seeing the fact that he's going to be playing Star-Lord, or in the position of Star-Lord, that's going to be cool. And like, I like the little joke where he was like hitting to him to come save him. And he said it just flies. And it flies, and then finally the arrow comes, he whistles and stuff. And I just want to see how they play off each other. So I'm actually interested in this all in general. It just looks dope.
Yeah, Abe?
Man, look, like mentioned, like we all know, the fact that this is the last time we'll have Boseman's last project, basically. Of course, a lot of people are going to tune in. We're all going to be tuned in for his John, and it's going to be exciting. But I am definitely looking forward to just the different stories that they can tell, and how they can honestly just use this show to have so much fun with the multiverse. Like, you can have some wild stories and be like, it doesn't affect the main MCU, but like it still counts, right? And with it being animated, the possibilities are endless. So I'm definitely looking forward to the fun storylines that they can give us, the wacky gender benders, the wacky like switching of storylines, and you know what? If I don't know, because this has to be hashed out with Sony, but if we could get a Venom verse like storyline in the Marvel What If, where the symbiote like literally is attached to every fucking character in the Marvel universe, that'd be so lit. That'd be so lit. But I don't know if Sony is gonna be like, nah, don't play with the symbiotes like that. But this is a perfect chance to do it. So I'm so hyped for it. I'm so here for it. I can't wait for it August 11th. I really can't.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you said it right. It's Sony. They get to pull the strings on that cord. So we'll see how it goes, man. Yeah. But Vash, what are your thoughts on the trailer?
Like Steve said, when our boy Killmonger saved Tony Stark, like, okay, so that's how we're gonna start things looking different. And then seeing Chadwick Boseman, aka T'Challa, being a Ravager, and I'm like I said in the last night's show of the animated podcast, when he felt so much better as a Ravager than Peter Quill, I'm like, I'm loving it. Like, this fits so well, like as a Ravager for T'Challa. Like, they look like an actual father and son relation. Like, they look like homies. And with Peter Quill, like, they just look like some type of bastard son, you know, some type of relationship like that. And additionally, with what Steve said, the zombies relationship, the zombie storyline, a lot of people don't know, but Marvel and DC has some really weird storyline that a lot of people don't know, and they're so outlandish that like it's just so random that DC and Marvel actually did that. And one of the stories is Marvel Zombies. It is so outlandish and weird that a lot of people don't know. And like Steve said, like I've seen it in cons too. And I read it when I was younger, but I just never actually do remember or care for it because it was just a I think it was a what if story or it was like a different universe type of story. But seeing that Marvel has the opportunity to tell their more crazy Jack Kirby's weird type of stories that they could just do in these what if stories is a great opportunity for them, and it's a great opportunity to them to show other characters that if the audience like, they can actually bring them to the actually main universe. So this is a great opportunity for them, and I'm very happy for them.
Yeah, man, the what if stuff and just anything dealing with the multiverse is just some of my favorite stuff. Just getting to fuck around with the things that we're used to seeing, you know what I mean? Like, one of my favorite what if storylines was when Deadpool destroyed the Marvel universe and he had the Infinity Gauntlet. Like,
if we ever
so
get
fun.
that,
right? Like, it's just
Imagine,
so much fun.
yo,
like,
imagine if we get that for the last episode and that's how it ends because they have the rights for Fox. So imagine Deadpool actually comes in and just shoots at TV and just says like, all right, the universe is broken. It's done.
That would be fire.
That would fit for the 4-4 breaking and everything. Like that would fit for the what if and everything. That
you
would
know
fit
what is
very
going
well.
to be funny though is after we get Chadwick's Boseman's performance as Star-Lord and how social media is going to be like, this is the Star-Lord we deserve. They about to get right out of here. They about to like, this version of Star-Lord wouldn't have fucked up with the Infinity Gauntlet.
He would have been emotional. He'd be like, where's Gamora? Where's Gamora? Like, where is she?
Like what Spicy just brought up, the what if storyline when Storm got the Dark Phoenix instead of Jean.
That was a wild one.
Bro. Talk about OP, bro. Talk about
You
OP.
know what? I'm
nuts.
glad you mentioned that because a few weeks ago, people was fixing their lips like Princess Diana, aka Wonder Woman, would give Storm the business. No, don't say that. Yo, I swear, give us Dark Phoenix Storm, and y'all gonna understand why like base level Storm would still fuck up Wonder Woman's life. I'm just saying. It is what it is.
I'll be honest with you, bro.
Baby daddy.
I don't know who would win that fight. I honestly have no idea.
Me either. I don't know who wins.
It's Storm. It's Storm. The reason why it's Storm is just because you have to understand that her powers go so much more deeper than just, hey, she can make lightning and control the weather.
Right.
Okay.
She is connected to the entire universe. She can tell when a fish moves 60,000 miles away. She can tell. She can read that. She can read everybody's biological signature. And Loki, this is for all the anime fans. Loki has the Byakugan because she can see your energy points in your body. So like she's fucking insane. She's insane. She is.
I still don't know who won.
It's just a matter of how she's been written throughout history. It's like, they always try to keep her a little nerve. Whereas DC, I will say this about DC. DC has no problem with having broken characters. DC will break all their characters at one point or another and make them so OP for no reason. So that's the only advantage that they have. Otherwise, Marvel, let her shine. Let her shine.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you guys, do you think in the what if, do you think they're gonna introduce some type of X-Men characters like in the last couple episodes? Because like they have the opportunity to not really care about it. This is a what if. This is not part of the same universe, so they could technically have like Quicksilver, Magneto. This is a great opportunity for it.
I don't think they'll do it this round, but maybe like the next season that they do, maybe.
That'd be bad. Like, oh, so y'all know we want X-Men. Be like, hey, let's give it to you a what if that doesn't really connect to the main MCU. Like,
I don't think they'll do that because they haven't casted all their characters, so they don't.
Because
most of the voice actors are from the Marvel.
Yeah, that's true. That would be a big tell if they.
They could use the voice actors from Marvel Avengers, the cartoons, and they could use it from the Fox universe.
Yeah,
but then it would.
But what they've done so far, what they've done so far is allowing the actual MCU actors to voice themselves.
Yeah.
So that's really dope because it keeps that continuity.
Right.
So unless they don't mind, like, hey, this is who we're casting. I mean, at the same time, they can still do a misdirect bash and like, we're casting a whole different people anyway. But they know the first thing we're going to be is like, oh, so that's who's voicing Professor Xavier in the US.
So he must be real.
Yeah. So, I don't know if they want to deal with all those theories and whatnot floating around, because then it just go ways, especially all the criticism. Because nobody's ever pleased. They'll be like, "Oh, this is the person who's voicing Magneto and Marvel's What If." Yeah, I don't like him. You should go to what's the homeboy's name? Who starred alongside McAvoy in the X-Men movies?
Michael Fassbender.
Fassbender, yeah. Because I wouldn't mind Fassbender reprising his role as Magneto.
Bro, I want Fassbender to come into the MCU as Doom. He would be the best Doom, period. There's no one else that I think would be better than Fassbender, bro.
He would be a really good Doom.
James has been saying this for months. James has been saying this since we started Villains. I think we did a fan cast, I think, months ago.
Yeah.
And he's been saying this for doing it. And I'm like, that could work. And I forgot who I said. I forgot who I said for Doom.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that would be amazing casting. But they can do whatever they want with What If. I mean, the multiverse is a thing. There's so many different versions of these different characters and different timelines and different way that things go. So I'm extremely excited for the What If series and to see where it's gonna go. Do we know how many episodes it is?
I believe 10. Because this is gonna cover phase 1 and phase 2. So this is season 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the storylines will just offer us alternatives of what we've seen so far in phase 1 and phase 2. I like that. I like that.
That's why I recall, because season 2 is gonna cover phase 3 and phase 4.
Interesting.
So then season 2 won't be for quite a ways then, huh?
Probably next year, most likely.
You think
unless
so?
they've been doing production. Well, I'm just assuming. I'm assuming.
Yeah, the only reason is that we haven't had much of phase 4 yet. It's like, do they want to wait a bit until
that, or they might just do their own storylines from the comics, like more zombie stuff, like more other crazy storylines that they probably want to add and that they can't really do. Like
the way I'm thinking is it's gonna be like Hunter x Hunter, it just goes on hiatus for a couple of years and then comes back randomly and then goes on a hiatus for until the next couple of phases end. So I get it. It's better not to do that.
You just couldn't help.
Can we not talk about?
I could not talk about
Hunter x Hunter
at all. I couldn't.
Couldn't help.
Can we not talk about Hunter x Hunter? Can we skip that for now?
That's a different show.
I couldn't help.
I'm kind of hurt right now. I'm still hurt from yesterday. It's been 24 hours still. I'm still hurt from yesterday.
Good.
Anyway, James.
Yes, but we're gonna be breaking down all of the What If episodes just like we've done with WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki. Vash and I will be talking about that with whoever we have as guests at that point. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about the Bad Batch as well after Loki's done. So yeah, man, we got so much lit content coming for you guys after Loki. But let's talk about the main topic of tonight's show. Let's get into Loki episode 5 because there's just so much shit to talk about in this episode. I think when I made my Easter egg list, I have about almost like 15 different things on my Easter egg list because there was just so much shit in there. But I want to know, Abe, I want to start with you. What were your general thoughts on Loki episode 5?
The giant Roomba theory was true.
Right, like seriously.
Wait. The giant what?
The giant Roomba theory that I came up with last episode. And we're like, could it be Sentinels or androids, something like that? And it was Alioth. It was just a cloud. It's a Roomba. Just a biological one. That's what it was. I started laughing. I legit had to like rewind because I started missing everything else, and I was like, hold on, I gotta stop laughing and actually focus and watch this episode. I was like, no, they did it. But my general thoughts is this episode was so fun. We got more character development and emotional character development. We had a lot of fun with the battle royale that occurred. And it makes me hard. It's very hard for me to comprehend that we only have one more episode left. I'm like, I feel like we could still do another 5. We really could, or at the least like another 3 episodes easily.
Nah, I'll take 5,
I was just
bro.
super pleased. Yeah. Waterbury, you feel me? But I was super pleased with this episode. It was good.
Steve?
I love this episode, and it's really because we got to see all the Lokis and the carnage that we got to see. That shit was just, it was fun as fuck. Just seeing all them and the carnage and them playing off each other, and we'll get into that later. But then Alioth was something that I've never seen before. And then Abe texts the group chat talking about a giant Roomba. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But yeah, that was like my favorite part though, just seeing all the Lokis interact with each other and just really just interacting the 1 and 2 jokes or whatever with this alligator Loki, like who the fuck is he and is he real and all this other stuff. And even later on, Morbius is even like, I don't remember seeing a alligator Loki coming through, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just thought that was pretty funny and shit like that. And just seeing this whole like after, afterlife, I guess, in a sense, because we all thought they were dying, coming to find out they're just getting sent to another area. So I thought that was really cool, just seeing that, like that dynamic of them in the quote unquote afterlife and stuff like that.
Vash?
We got fucking helicopter Thanos. That's what we got. That's what shocked me the most. Like Ray said last night, like this has been a meme in the comics for years. And to know that we finally see it in the TV, like on a big screen, to actually see it, that we got the helicopter Thanos. Like this shocked me. I was like, wow, okay, cool. And then the second thing that shocked me the most is that we got Frog Thor. Supposed to get Frog Thor and alligator Loki, like from the comics. And to know that I give so much props to Marvel with their Easter eggs, and knowing that they put, like, we see Frog Thor, but then you see T365, knowing that this came from the issue of Thor 365 of when Frog Thor came. So to know like all these type of Easter eggs that shows in these type of shows, in these type of movies, it shows how much passion and love, no matter what you say about these movies, that you don't like them or not, the storyline and everything, but it shows that these movies have so much passion and thought process to it. And that's what I enjoy about this, because like no matter what you say about these films and shows, I had a fucking great time with this episode 5, because like Abe said in the beginning, not too much information happened, but so much Easter eggs happened in this type of episode that it made me still enjoy. Like to see that we saw Yellow Jacket, big ass head, just smack in the middle of the whole ground. I'm like, what the hell did he do just to get teleported here and a big ass head? Like, what did he get pruned for? Like, his yellow ass head is just big ass here. Like, what did he do? So just know these type of cameos and these type of Easter eggs, I love it. I had a great time with it.
Yeah, this episode was full of Easter eggs and callbacks, like a lot of Easter eggs and callbacks.
Yeah, man, like I live for Easter eggs. Ready Player One is one of my favorite movies because it's just riddled with Easter eggs
so
from
many.
Everything in pop culture. King Kong, you got fucking Gundams, Metal Gear Solid, Halo. There's everything in that movie, man. And this episode again is just riddled with Easter eggs, and we'll talk about it as we get through the episode. So let's start right at the top. Name of the episode, Journey into Mystery. For those of you who don't know, that was the very first appearance of Thor and Loki in Marvel Comics with Jack Kirby. And I actually like to point out when classic Loki was creating that version of Asgard, like the castle itself was very, very Kirby like, and I absolutely love that. Like you can tell like these are fans actually making this shit. But we jump into the void, getting back to the end credit scene from the last episode, and then classic Loki breaks it down. That's Alioth. If we don't run, we're gonna be food, right? So absolutely love that they got that out of the way. They tell us, because when I heard the name, I was like, Alioth? Are you fucking kidding me right now? We're getting Alioth in this. Alioth, again, for those of you who don't know, is a temporal being that rules over several thousand years of time. His only like competition in ruling
Kang.
over time is Kang the Conqueror. And again, there's so many things that lead to Kang, bro.
And but for those that don't know, Kang fears Alioth as well. That's crazy shit.
The only one that Kang fears is Alioth, and Alioth is being used as a guard dog for whoever's running the TVA. Like,
no lie. Props to the design of this design of Alioth. Like, I was impressed because I thought it was going to be, when I first saw it, it reminded me of the Green Lantern Cloud. That's why that's what it
Parallax?
first reminded me of. Yeah, Parallax.
Stop.
Thank you. So that's where it first reminded me of. But then when I start to see the episode and actually see it close up, see the detail of the dog, like the guard dog, I'm like, okay, cool. But then like, I love how Cassie Loki also said that we are like a Shark Tank, and I just love how Alligator Loki is like, why can you say alligator, tank? Like, well, it makes sense for Shark Tank. So I just love those little jokes and little comeback with each other, and to see the design look so well up close and look so good in detail. I was so impressed, like how much evolution we have done within these years, and props to the design.
That design, you said it looked like the cloud from the DC. I'm thinking that's what I pictured on Aladdin, what the the tunnel that they were going to go in with the lamp. That's what I pictured it to fucking look like, and it ended up kind of looking cheesy in Aladdin. So this was like my little, oh yeah, this look a little better. But yeah, that opening scene was dope. And then like Loki is still trying to find out what the fuck is going on, and they're just like, we need to move, and they're just like, you know what I'm saying? They're like, we need to
stay
move.
alive.
They're basically demanding it. And then Loki's like, well, you guys need to tell me what's going on and all this other stuff. And he's yelling. And then they finally give him a quick breakdown. And then he said, you'd be wise to like listen to Kid Loki. And Loki's like, what makes him so special? And he's like, I killed Thor. And he walks off, and it's like, like everybody's kind of like, oh shit. Like,
and it's like, how did he do it? Because it's like, we know that each of these variants exists in their own universe, but they all follow the path of the sacred timeline, right? So from the things that we know that happened between Loki and Thor, I wonder which one of those events, or it could have even been like a different one, like what happened to where he killed Thor.
Oh, you found this Easter egg too, Vash? I think we found the same Easter egg.
But here's the thing though. We have to, the first question we gotta ask, and a question that we won't know for the time being, is how true to the Kid Loki storyline are they gonna play with it? Are they gonna give us the idea of like, hey, this is just another variant that, just happened to kill Thor as a kid? Or are they gonna give us like, no, this is Loki, the original story of Kid Loki, where Loki in the future, in his time, after his years of villainy, goes back in time to take over a younger version of himself to try to go down a heroic path. Is that what they're going to give us? Because if they give us that, then that makes for some fun. But if they decide not to, we can still have a fun. I mean, variants exist, right? So it's fine that you can still tell that story just with like, it's a variant, instead of saying it's like this Loki went back. It's just a variant. This is just
I think that Kid Loki is just the one that wants to do good, and then we'll see him in the Young Avengers.
Yeah, we will.
Young Avengers.
I'm so excited for that because look. All right, first of all, I said at the end of episode 4 that pose, I was like, that man Kid Loki looked like he about to drop the hottest album of the summer, right? He's about to do what Drake does and just drop bangers during the summer, have everybody just jamming. Okay, this episode,
views from the void.
Like, yeah, views from the void, yo. nothing was the same from the void. Nothing was the same, right? So anyway, I was like, Kid Loki on the Young Avengers, the dynamic, the dialogue is about to be so lit. Because he's gonna be arrogant but also witty as hell. He's still going to be manipulative, even though he has good intentions. It's about to be so fun with the Young Avengers. I'm so excited to see Kid Loki in the MCU. I'm really excited for this. It's gonna bang. It's gonna bang.
The theory that I saw on the callback for Kid Loki, because JB asked how did Kid Loki kill Thor? If you remember in Thor Ragnarok, he talks about when they were kids and Loki turned into a snake because he knows Thor loves snakes. And then he changes and he stabbed him in the stomach as an 8-year-old kid. And a lot of the little callbacks are saying like Loki just left him to bleed out. And that's how Loki killed Thor when they were like 8. So
I can see that.
Yeah, so I was all like, I was wondering if when Vash said that was what he thought. I thought that was the same thing that he looked up and saw too, because a lot of people are saying they think that variation of Loki basically turned into the snake, stabbed him, and then left him to bleed out.
It fits.
That I do want to point out, and also with the sword, I forgot how you pronounce the sword that Loki put out, but taking the dagger, I forgot how you pronounce it correctly.
It's Levine something.
It's Levine, something like that. But I love how that same dagger or sword it was 3 or 4 issues before after Frog Thor appear in the comics as well. So I
Yeah.
love, and also that dagger and sword is also Loki's original sword, but technically they are all Loki. So technically it was always his or meant to be his. So I love how Kid Loki just passed it down to our version Loki at the end of the episode. So it just fitted so well, and it was beautiful.
Really was. Again, like I said, I geeked out at Alioth because like you mentioned, JB, there's too many stuff leading us to Kang. I mean, as we all made clear, Kang started out in 2000 BC because he couldn't go back further thanks to Alioth. He was like, all right, I'm just gonna set up right here. Let me create a barrier so he don't come this way, and then I'm just gonna go from 2000 BC all the way to the future.
Yeah.
He's like, Alioth got this. I'm gonna leave that man alone. I'm not even gonna try to fight for that. He got that. It's so we all know that the MCU likes to nerf characters. Normally we have qualms with that, i.e. Ultron, the Black Order from me personally.
Yeah.
The Black Order was definitely nerfed.
Yeah, but if you're gonna nerf Alioth, that means to me the way I view that is like the main reason is like, look, he's too strong of a figure to just drop it a Loki episode, be like, he exists, he's here. All right, guys, let's go on to Miss Marvel in the fall and then go off to Spider-Man and be like, no, like Alioth is an Avengers level threat. You can't just be like, hey, Loki, you peep him, and now that's it. No, but the fact that you nerf him show me like, all right, you're telling me that Kang is a threat. Like Kang ain't nothing to mess with. This is your way of still keeping Kang, even if you nerf Kang, you're still being like, he can make Alioth his guard dog. So that's where my theory is. Unfortunately, like when we discuss later, the theory that you mentioned, JB, makes perfect sense, especially given the show, and we've been talking about it on the TL for the last couple of days, especially.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're gonna get to that point. Like at this point, I have 3 different people that I think it could be. I'm gonna ask you guys if you can choose. If not, it's okay, because I can't choose. I'm just going to name the 3 at the end of the show. And then whoever it is, it's like, fine. As long as it's one of those 3, I'm good. But I think it's like between 3 different people. So let's talk about the Hideout. We get to the Hideout, like Vash already alluded to. We get to see Throg. Inside of the case, it says, what did the glass say? It was T365, yeah, which, like Vash said, was the first appearance of Throg. So we get to see that. I thought that was dope. And if you listen to the voice, it sounds like Hemsworth. It sounds like Hemsworth, like screaming, which I forgot to look in the credits. I wanted to see if he was like uncredited or something, but it definitely sounded like him. But we get inside and we start to learn about what how the other Lokis created their Nexus events. And I love classic Loki's Nexus event. So Steve, I want to start with you. What did you think about classic Loki's Nexus event?
I thought that was really he just basically said that, like, I got lonely. And we've been hinted at that, you know what I'm saying, Loki has been saying in episodes, I don't want to die alone. I don't want to be alone. And he's starting throughout each episode, he's like, you're seeing all the remorse of, he's feeling like, I miss my brother. He saw the scenes where him and his brother were getting along and fighting alongside each other. His mom, he saw what his actions did to his mom and things like that. So he's been having empathy throughout each episode. And this is more character growth. It's just showing, even in his old age, he tried to hide out, and he still was like, I got lonely. You know what I'm saying? So I decided to, as soon as I started putting my plan together to step out and get away, that's when the TVA shows up and pulls me in. So I thought that was really cool, honestly and truthfully. I just was like, that's just more showing the empathetic side of Loki, which they've been doing throughout the whole season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, what did you think of the fact that his magic is so powerful that he was able to create an illusion that actually tricked Thanos, and he turned himself into like a piece of debris just floating around and out in space? Like, what did you think of that?
So that was another, like, so I was watching Easter egg videos because I caught some of the Easter eggs, but I didn't catch all of them. So one of the Easter eggs I caught was one of the pieces of debris floating in the background when Thanos kills Loki in that Endgame or whatever, or in Infinity War. there's a piece of debris with horns in the background that floats by.
Yeah, I've
and a
seen
lot
that,
of people were saying that's Loki playing. And now it's like Marvel has seen that theory and was like, we see that theory and we raise you this.
They would be petty enough to do something like that. They definitely would, yeah.
We see that theory, so because they probably didn't even think that debris looked like Loki, but they're like, we could do something with that.
We could
and then, and then that's pretty much what they did, because he's like, I cast an illusion, and then I hear there's some debris, and then that same conversation at the end, we'll get to it later. You saw that piece of debris? There's a piece of debris as old man
floating, yeah,
is about to get killed by Alioth, and then boom, there's the debris that looks like Loki. So I'm wondering if that's an illusion, and he's not actually dead, because Grant is actually casted for 3 episodes and he's only been in 2.
Yeah, he's you at this point you can't kill a Loki, man. Like, they always find a way to come back. We already know that he has incredible amounts of power to where he can create an exact duplicate of himself and use the same amount of power. So I don't think he's dead at all. We'll definitely see him again somewhere. But man, we'll talk about it when it gets there, because I think Richard E. Grant deserves like an Emmy nomination for his performance in this episode, because I thought he fucking killed it. But Vash, what did you think of classic Loki just being like strong enough to trick Thanos? And also, how long do you think he was in solitude? Because for him to look that old, he would have to have been out there for thousands of years, because we know currently Thor and Loki are roughly close to 2,000 years old, and they look like 30, like early 30s, right? So how long do you think he was out there, and how do you feel about classic Loki's abilities?
So for classic Loki, I love this because he was wearing the outfit of how first Thor and Loki premiere, like in the comics, like we mentioned, Journey to the Mystery and everything. 2, to see classic Loki real strength, real power, for him to actually show that he could trick Alioth and show how powerful he is, and for him to say that he tricked Thanos. And I love how at the end of the episode, our Loki said that it seemed like we're stronger than we seem. I love that line, because like Abe said, that some of our characters in the MCU get nerfed. In the MCU, DC movies, they don't really nerf the characters so far. They do tiny bit, not so much. With the MCU, Hulk, a lot of the characters have got nerfed. But it seems like MCU now is starting to give like Wanda, Falcon, like the actual characters, their true abilities that they could have. So I'm hoping by the end of the series with Loki, and the next thing that we see Loki in the future, we see the true strength of the god of mischief. What we see from classic Loki, transfer that true power to our present Loki, like show the true power that we have known him to be from the comics and cartoons of how strong he is. Because that's very exciting. That's what I love about this episode, to see classic Loki act like this, and for him to speak about that, because it showed that he has been doing this for so long, and he's the one that mostly know about his own powers. And if Loki saw that, like, wait a minute, I could do the enchanting. If he could do that, maybe I could do that. Because even Sylvie said this, like, hey, if I could do this, you're Loki too. You can do this too. And Loki's smart, our Loki. So that means he would be bound to this by the next episode. He'll probably try to do something like that. He'll probably try to swindle some type of power like that. So that's my hope. And to answer to James' question of how long he's been doing this, my guess, 5,000 years. Because from what we know in the comics, Odin Thor, when he becomes Odin Thor, he's around 4,500 years old, around there. So that's my guess. For him to look that old, and for him to say he's been lonely, and for these type of guys, they take a long time to feel, alone and get old. So my assumption, around 4,000 to 5,000 years old.
Abe, what are your thoughts on this?
And classic Loki, I thought was a nice touch, and just how powerful. And again, like Steve mentioned, just further playing on the idea of Lokis are meant to be lonely; they will be lonely forever. And how, like, even him saying, like, "Hey, I don't want to be lonely no more," was like, "Oh, hey, hold on, this is gonna cause a." As far as we know right now, this is gonna cause a Nexus event. Like, hold on, we gotta keep that man isolated. It was hilarious, and just the whole dialogue amongst them during this scene, just how they it's so funny seeing our Loki just basically be like, yo, this is a plan, as if, of course, the others have already thought of this. They've already tried it. Like, sir, you're not selling us anything new that we haven't heard a million times.
It's like,
To have all
dude,
these Loki.
we're the same. There's dozens of us here. Don't you think we already thought about this?
But what I love about the present Loki of ours is like he tries to do such a good job to convince them. He's like, yo, did the speech. I'm gonna swindle you guys. And then like the moment of silence, and then they just laugh. I'm like, this just played so well because it happened much earlier when he just kept asking, where we going? Just survive. What are we gonna do? Just survive. And I love how that scene where Tom Hiddleston literally just screaming like, I need to know what the fuck we're doing. I just been gone 4 months since New York. I don't know how many weeks and everything. And I love how he just acted so well. Just a pure frustration. Like he was just tired of the bullshit. And I just love that too.
Look, that scene also for me made me more hyped for Kid Loki because I'll reiterate it. You guys have to imagine that when we get the Young Avengers, we're basically getting a regular Loki as part of the Avengers. Everything that makes Loki so dope. I mean, yes, we still have to see how the actor does with Kid Loki. He didn't have much dialogue and whatnot. Right. But I trust Marvel. I mean, how often can we look at the MCU and be like, yeah, that was bad casting or whatnot for a hero? You know, right. Even if the hero or the character itself did it, i.e. Ultron, did it turn out the way we wanted, Spader did it.
James Spader did an amazing job. His voicing.
His
voicing got me scared. I'm like,
JB, quick tangent. So at the time I was working in admissions that summer that Ultron was coming out, and I was interviewing prospective students to the college that I was attending. I was a senior. It was right before my senior year. I made it a part of the interview process to watch the trailer each time and be like, so what are your thoughts on this trailer? And that would affect whether I felt like, hey, yeah, I'll give this person a recommendation to attend this school or nah. Look, they don't fuck with Marvel like that. I don't know. I can't trust nobody. But I'm looking forward to more to just having a Loki character constantly being involved with the MCU, and it's gonna be Kid Loki. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be so exciting.
Yeah, quick question to you guys. Speaking about the multiverse, speaking about Loki and everything here, do you think with what Age just said about Age of Ultron, do you think Scott or Hank Pym will probably have like another stab at Ultron and maybe do a better version, like maybe something with changing the past? Maybe they will have a chance to redo Ultron as a villain. That's my hope.
So I want Ultron back, but not that way, right? So Ultron always finds a way to come back. I just want the Ultron that we know to just come back. I want to believe that Ultron was smart enough to put his consciousness into a bunch of different places before Vision was even able to lock him out. So that's how Ultron has always come back in the comics. That's what I would personally want.
True.
Would I be upset if like we find like some other universe or some other timeline where Hank Pym like makes like a different version of Ultron and we get like a different, more like comic book accurate version? Sure, fuck it, I don't care. But yeah, but as far as the MCU goes, like because I think we're gonna stick with like this main like 616 timeline. I think we'll just continue. If we do see Ultron again, it'll just be a continuation of what we see before. But you never know, man.
I will say this. I mean, look, they made their atonement with the Mandarin. I wouldn't be surprised if like, yo, you know, we did fumble the bag with Ultron. Let's bring him back. Let's bring him back. And while I agree with you, JB, it'd be dope to do that. I mean, they also have the option to just introduce a new multiverse version, you know, to remedy it. Right. It would actually be smoother if they went your route because it doesn't look as cheap as saying like, oh,
yeah, and that's the way Ultron has always come back in the comics. He's just saved his consciousness in some random computer somewhere, and then he rebuilt a new body, and then he comes back. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that would be easier than like, oh well, let's create a timeline where Hank Pym creates this different version of Ultron. Like it just kind of gets cumbersome at that point. It would be really cool. But it's like 616, like it would just be too much work. Just bring it back. Like that's what Ultron does. Like just bring it back.
The conspiracy of it all is just every episode that Loki's ended is just kind of ended. Every episode Falcon Winter Soldier ended, it kind of ended. But what WandaVision, when that episode would end, it would be like because you watched WandaVision, watch Age of Ultron. They kept doing, they were like forcing you to try to watch Age of Ultron after every episode of WandaVision. And I'm like, now that Vash has brought up Ultron, now I'm wondering, maybe they were hinting at something like, hey, you might want to get a refresher on this or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did try to bring him back. Like you said, they revamped Mandarin. Maybe they feel like they dropped the ball on Ultron, and they do want to do that.
I mean, they definitely dropped the ball. They definitely dropped the ball.
Definitely, I'm about to say, no lie, I'm excited. The more closer we get to Shang-Chi, like as much as me and James are gonna review Black Widow this week and everything, but I'm excited for Shang-Chi actually this coming November it comes out, and I'm actually at first when me and James did our ranking, I probably had Shang-Chi in the lower half. But the more close we get, I'm like, yo, we're getting the actual fucking Mandarin. Like, we're going to get the actual dragons. Like, we're going to get the 10 rings. We're going to get the alien species that follow the Mandarin, like the actual comic shit. So, like, that gets me excited to see what they're going to do with it. So, it has me thrilled to see what they're going to come up with. And I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm. JB.
James, you're mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm very excited for however it goes, man. Like,
so excited he muted himself so he wouldn't yell over us. That's what happened.
But yeah, man. Let's continue. So we get President Loki and all of the other Lokis that are part of his army, and then boastful Loki, that piece of shit, turns his back and betrays the whole squad, trying to be king. Like he didn't know that the other Lokis would also betray him. I was also kind of disappointed that we didn't find out what his Nexus event was.
But he says that he killed Captain America and Iron Man.
Yeah, but Alligator Loki says it's Cap, right?
He says
do we know that?
So then it makes you think
because they're Lokis though. Lokis though.
It makes you think that he's a big liar, which means is Minor even real?
I mean,
the one that he's carrying, or is that just something?
His name is Boastful Loki. Who are the likely types of people to be so boastful? People who are actually cocky and also cowards who just, let's be real. Look, guys, I got so hyped seeing President Loki because JB, you had mentioned it. I had talked about how I went to the comic shop and saw that. Yo, why is this out? You were like, yeah, because he's gonna be in it. I was like, oh, what? So all right, first of all, for those who were on the YouTube page before we started, you saw the thumbnail. I lost my shit. I lost my shit when he opened the hatch and there goes President Loki and all the other Lokis just like, huh, what do we have here? I'm like, oh gosh, okay. And
I didn't expect that to go so fast. I thought that was going to be a long, drawn out process.
And then he was just like, he's like, hey, I'm the one in charge. That's what I decided. I'm like, yeah, typical Loki. And
typical
Loki's like, it's like, why not? And then my heart dropped when Alligator Loki took his hand. I'm like,
and it was nice foreshadowing too, because boastful Loki and Alligator Loki got into it.
Yeah,
Alligator Loki he bit his hand, but he didn't like get it off. And then President Loki, he got that bitch clean off.
Very smooth. I'm like, damn, just quick.
I'll say this now. I hope that episode 6, most of these Lokis, the ones that are dope, like escape. I hope that I want to see President Loki in the MCU. I definitely want to see Alligator Loki in the MCU. Just chilling and swamp and just be like, hey, every now and then I come out and help the Avengers or whatnot.
Yeah,
like,
again.
Can you imagine him just being a part of the Young Avengers as like Kid Loki's like kind of pet? Wouldn't that be dope? The Young Avengers have a mascot. Is Alligator Loki? We're like,
and what's dope that a lot of people don't know about President Loki. President Loki was actually a recent comic issue in 2016, and that was a fun joke towards the 2016 election. So I love how they added like President Loki to the series and everything. So like, and he's one of the most recent Lokis. So I love that great type of addition to the show, even though he left out so quick. And I know Abe got mad in the group chat. He's like, why did he kill him so fast? I'm like,
well,
I was like,
dead,
no way. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like
not
you said, not all. But I'm like, dang. Because what really bothered me was the way he screamed. I'm like, oh no. Oh.
He screamed loud.
Well,
Yo,
you
hit
try
us
having
this
your
so
hand
good.
completely bit off by an alligator. We'll see how you scream.
I mean, I feel like I would have.
He literally was like, Mala!
It was shrill as hell. I was like, ooh.
Yo, but just to have an understanding, so those other people behind him were other versions of Loki,
Yeah, they're
right?
all
Those are
Lokis, bro.
variants, yeah.
Yo,
Yeah,
like
the one
Blerdy?
with the one with the really long beard and the shades. We actually saw him in the hologram when Mobius was talking about the different variants. We saw him
So
previously.
that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, they're all Lokis.
I was
It's
hoping-
very interesting.
I was hoping that we're gonna see Hulk, you know, the green Loki, the big Loki for
They
the
wouldn't have
hologram.
got out
That's
that
what I was
room.
hoping that we're gonna see.
I don't think they get out that room with
That's That's what I was hoping to see, because that would have been funny, and it was just enjoyable to watch. So like that was something like, oh,
At that
big
point,
green
you gotta make the episode like 30 minutes longer so we can really enjoy that Loki battle royale. If you was going to include that version of Loki, like
That's what I wanted, a battle royale.
I actually want to
truthfully
see this
thought we were
fight.
gonna get like a little cat and mouse chase, like President Loki is about to chase them for like at least like 15 minutes. I didn't think it was gonna go that fast. It went
They
pretty
wrapped
fast.
it up. They
Yeah.
they were
I'll
having
be-
fun with it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I never expected to see like a bunch of Loki variants for a long period of time. You know what I mean? Like, because we already have two main Lokis that we're focusing on. You want to give more development to Kid Loki. Classic Loki was amazing, and then we'll just get glimpse of all of the other ones. So I didn't think we would get that much anyway. But who says that this is the last that we'll see of them? Like, we're still getting into like Multiverse of Madness, and who knows how the MCU will open up after that. So the sky's the limit, dude.
Yeah.
And to go right after with what happened, I love how classic Loki just used the teleportation thing, like the fog little smoke thing, and they just left. I love how classic Loki just used those powers at ease, because we haven't seen our President Loki haven't done that in a while. So I'm happy to see that our President Loki is starting to see these type of powers again.
Yeah.
That it just makes him, his true power that we're gonna see within the next episode and in the future of the MCU. So I can't wait to see that more of that.
The
Yeah.
problem is that this Loki being exposed to all the different ways that other Lokis use powers is completely dangerous for the MCU. You don't want a Loki that that has this wide range of abilities that can use it in such unique. Do we want a Loki that can enchant people's minds and go into their memory?
Yes.
Do we really
Yes,
want that version of Loki in the
That's
MCU?
I
what
want
really
that.
makes
I want
him
that from the
god of
comics.
mischief, bro.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, do we really want that in the MCU?
Yes.
Do you want a Loki who's just
Yes.
going to randomly just hop into whichever character's mind and mess around and control them? Oh my goodness!
Just for a little bit.
That's
You mean Scarlet Witch in Age of Ultron?
And plus,
That what you mean?
And
Oh,
all
no,
of
point back to
WandaVision.
Ultron.
All of WandaVision.
I do agree with Breeze, because some of those type of Vikings, type of Lokis behind President Loki, some of them did look like women. So like, wait, are we getting like other type of versions like of man and woman type of Loki? That would be cool, but I didn't really, zoom in or take screenshots to actually, pay attention to the features. But
So
some of them did look like, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
So according to like what like classic Loki, Kid Loki, and Boastful Loki said, like they've never seen a woman Loki. I will say the one with the red head, he's just androgynous. That's really all it is. Like, he's just really androgynous. There was like one other one that was kind of androgynous, but I mean, you could definitely tell that they were men, but they were pretty androgynous.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Oh,
I
okay.
would say because he mentioned a female Loki and everybody was like, ugh. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That sounds terrifying.
Like,
Boy,
that's dangerous.
She gonna whoop half your asses easy within the blink of an eye. Don't play with her.
Yeah, because
so
he's like, that's dangerous. And then she said, like, yes, she is. But that's what's amazing about her. I'm like, my dude sounds so in love.
yeah, he definitely does.
That
He
boy
sounds
good.
like he's in love with her.
That boy. whipped.
Oh yeah, by himself, which is
Ooh.
such a fucking Loki thing.
By a version of himself, yeah.
So narcissist of it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what
But
the
let's cut back to the TVA, where we get that scene between Renslayer and Sylvie. And Renslayer actually got Sylvie to kind of believe that they were kind of on the same side in terms of finding out who's behind the TVA, right? But then Renslayer tricks her. So
Of course.
Steve, I want to start with you. Like, what did you think about this sequence? Like, was there a part of you at all that believed Renslayer, that she was like on the same side as Sylvie? Like, what did you think about that?
So there was times where I was like, she's just trying to save her own ass. And then there was times where I did believe it. And then when Sylvie grabs her hand and she's like holding on to her hand, like not letting it go, I'm like, oh, she got her ass. I was like, she knows that she's like, you're not about to play me. But what was weird in that whole scene to me, or unanswered question in a sense, what I questioned, was how did Miss Minutes and her communicate, like, to get help? You know what I'm saying? Like, because she was talking to Miss Minutes, she was like, how long? How long?
I'm probably wrong, but I think it was through the temp pad. Because she got Sylvie to trust her enough to give her back the temp pad. And I think she just like sent Miss Minutes like a quick message, like, get security down here now and help me like buy time. So that's my headcanon, but obviously I don't really have anything to base that on.
Or it's just possible because I mean, Miss Minutes is a virtual entity that she herself, there's a failsafe or like a silent alarm that just automatically designed to trigger a failsafe, you know, something like that. So, you know, it rather easy. It was definitely interesting though, the dialogue and the fun of Miss Minutes when she's like, oh yeah, no, it's just taking a moment, like to
and she's looking at she keeps looking.
Yeah, just scrolling. Like I'm looking, just scrolling.
Who are you fooling? Oh,
But no lie, in this episode, like throughout the past 4, I hear James all the timeline, and in the past 2 episodes I miss, James will be like, yo, something's wrong with Miss Minutes. Like, yo, she's fishy and everything. This is the episode that got me questioning, like, does Miss Minutes know who she's working for? Or is she just working for Renslayer? Or does she know what she's doing? Because there's no way, because in the second time we go back to TVA and Renslayer asks her, like, okay, I need all the files from the beginning of time and everything she needs. And Renslayer, and then Miss Minutes is like, okay, I got you, no problem. And Renslayer is like, I need to help them. Like, so we don't get a confirmation, him, her, or you know, Kang or anything like that. But it just makes it more questionable, like, does Miss Minutes know who she's working for and what she's doing? Or is she just going along because she thinks that she only works for whoever is in Mysterious Bubble? So it really got me questioning in this episode, because I feel like James, I'm like, yo, who the fuck is Miss Minutes? Like, who the fuck are you? Like, what Jarvis person are you working for?
Yeah, like Miss Minutes is definitely knows exactly who's running the TVA. Miss Minutes actually runs the TVA. Miss Minutes runs the Timekeepers, the TVA. Miss Minutes keeps everything together for whoever's running everything behind the scenes. So I can't wait for that reveal, because Miss Minutes definitely knows a lot more than she's letting on. But Abe, what did you think about this sequence? Like, did you fall for Renslayer's tricks at all? And the thing is, Renslayer definitely wants to know who's behind the curtain, but she also wants to keep up the appearance of the Timekeepers to maintain the sacred timeline. So that's an additional question. Like, so what did you think about that scene, and how do you feel about her motivations?
I genuinely think that Renslayer knows at least who's supposed to be running the show or who should be behind the curtain. But there's a glitch in the system, and we'll touch upon that later with the other theories that you have. But I don't trust her. I simply don't trust her. You know, everything she says, I'm like, you talk and act like a Loki. All right, I'm just gonna say that right now. I'm not saying she's a Loki at all. She's a Renslayer. But you've had a lot of experience in this business. You ain't fooling me, shorty. I don't believe a word you said. You know something. You know more than you're letting on. And you do want to find out some answers because you have some questions. But nah, shorty. I ain't trusting you. I ain't trusting you at all. And what was the second part of that question that you reminded?
Yeah, like do you think that she actually wants to like maintain like the sacred timeline? Like if she finds out whoever is behind the TVA, do you think she'll do anything about it? Do you think like she'll continue working for them?
So it depends on two things, right? For me, it depends on two things. It depends on one. Has Renslayer already met Kang? Because if Renslayer's already met Kang, then that love story is probably exists. So she's like, oh nah, Kang is not the one. Y'all got Kang up out of here. Oh, I'm out of here too. If she hasn't met Kang yet, when we get the start of a beautiful budding romance between two arrogant and Loki powerful beings who just like to control and manipulate time because they're so arrogant, but they're such a lovely couple. Will we get that? Who knows?
I think she
I
already
feel like she
knows.
hasn't.
I feel like she has.
I feel like she hasn't.
Low key protecting Kang's identity, like secret identity, quote unquote, behind everything. And I feel like she knows and everything, and she's like trying to keep things hidden. Because even when are we gonna go ahead and talk about Sylvie pruning herself?
Yeah.
Everybody puts their guard down. They look at her and they're like,
what?
they're like,
What?
she pruned
self-pruned.
herself. They was like why? Why the fuck would she do that? And then she kind of plays it off like, well, now she's dead. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, at this point, like, it's looking like you look real fishy at this point. So you need to tell somebody. And I just feel like she's covering for Kang being the head of the Tiger. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think she genuinely doesn't know, but she also genuinely thinks that policing time is very important. So she doesn't want to create like an absolute like panic and chaos by telling everyone that they're variants. And if it's Kang, I think that's how their relationship forms, because Kang's purpose is to rule all of time and she wants to police it, so that would kind of make them like kindred spirits in a way, which could lead them to becoming a couple. But who knows, man? Like that's the best part of all this shit. Like who knows how it could go.
James, my question to you: do you think at this moment? So Steve said that that they have met. I believe they haven't. Abe gave his half a half, so I'm not even sure which it is. James, what do you think? Do you think they have met already, or not yet?
Nah, I think she meets him after this, if it's Kang. And in general, I think she'll meet Kang like after like events after the series, because Renslayer isn't going anywhere. Abe has brought this up multiple times on the show. The actress has talked about the fact that Renslayer is going to be very close to her comic book storyline. If you know anything about the Terminatrix and how she plays into like with the stuff with like the TVA and with Kang, who knows what can happen, man? Like there's a lot we can speculate about. So
keep in mind the first appearance of Alioth was in the Terminatrix series.
Right.
It was. Yep, correct.
Right. But additionally too is just like she's also heavily involved with fighting against the Fantastic Four and the Avengers. And we know Fantastic Four is coming. It's probably how Phase 4 is going to wrap up. We'll get the first family. There's just I tweeted this the other day. I'm so happy for all the actors and actresses that are showing up in these MCU shows and films, because they're about to get the biggest bags of their life. Like, they can retire off this money alone. They about to become phenomenal like characters that we'll all love and enjoy. And Renslayer, her name is Google. She's going to do a great job with Renslayer. I'm fucking with Renslayer heavily. Like, I can't wait to see more stories with her, see her pop up more and more and just be the character she is, because she has some good turns too. She ends up betraying Kang at some points during the comic, but they have one of those like on and off again type relationships.
Yeah, but they always find themselves back to each other.
Like toxic couples, like not way. No, I won't go that route. This is not an anime show, so I won't go that route.
So I'm very curious to see what you said, Abe, because for these actors and narrative for Phase 4 and Phase 5 narrative, because Marvel just put out, I think, a news lab this past week saying that they're not gonna do long contracts no more. So I'm very curious to see how's that gonna go. I wonder if that's gonna stick with them, or if they're only or what they mean by that. That they will not have people say, "Oh, you have to be here for 3 movies." But what I think they're gonna do, like, okay, you're gonna be part of this show, this movie in the future.
Yeah, because
But
now
you don't
that they're
have to be
incorporating
part.
shows, yeah, that contract
Yeah,
starts to
shows and
look
movies.
more different.
A little more different. So I feel like the way they put that news outlet, I feel like they worded it too different. I feel like it's much better if they say like long-term contract for movies are gonna change now to movies and shows, since
Yeah.
now they're
Yeah.
trying to connect a lot of different things. So I'm really curious to know this next couple of years with actors gonna be within the phase 4 and phase 5 is gonna be now.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
because
the beautiful thing, I mean, it depends. What money would you prefer? Like, would you prefer show money or movie money? Because with the shows, you could probably get a couple seasons out of it. With the movies, you could appear in like maybe 3 or 4 of the major storylines. But I really am glad to have the shows incorporated into
here's the thing with the Marvel contracts though. Like with Sebastian Stan, like remember he's been around since 2010 filming to do the first Avenger.
Yeah.
So he signed on for 9 appearances from that point. So that included the TV shows already. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like I would have to do more
So
research.
they just probably counted the TV show as one whole appearance.
Like these contracts are by appearance. They're not necessarily by movie. So same thing with Nick Fury. Whenever you hear Samuel L. Jackson talk about it, he talks about how many appearances he has left on his contract. So like Secret Invasion, and then there's maybe like one other thing, and then he has to like re-up his contract. But he had like I don't know, like a bunch of appearances obviously on his contract. So that's really how they're doing it. It's by appearance, and then they kind of just stick you in anything to fulfill your contract, you know?
Yeah. Even if it's just a cameo, it's still an appearance.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the check too.
Yeah. So let's continue. We get back to the void after Sylvie prunes herself. She wakes up inside of this bus, and then Alioth starts chasing her, and then Mobius shows up. Shows up, saves her. Steve, what did you think about Mobius showing up? Like when we talked about it on the last episode, we knew that he wasn't dead from the information that we found out at the end of the episode. We know that they're just teleported somewhere else. So like were you happy to see Mobius? Like what were your thoughts on Mobius showing up in like this random like pizza delivery car to pick up Sylvie?
I was definitely laughing about it because I was like, man, why couldn't be like on a body of water with a jet ski, like where he's finally on a jet ski or something like that. But he was on the pizza truck, and I was like, okay, cool. And then you get that little glimpse where she kind of like, you know, what is it, telepaths Alioth a little bit so she can see into his mind a little bit. And that's her first glimpse of, oh, I could kind of do that. And she doesn't realize it till later. But like he shows up and he's like, hey, surprise, I'm here. Let's go. And then they go. And I'm just thinking, he's been surviving on his own. There's no Loki or anybody there to, you know what I'm saying, like guide him and help him out. He's been surviving on his own. So that kind of, in a sense, I kind of am like, oh, okay, Mobius is actually pretty badass because he figured it out. Like, I can't touch that shit. And he's been surviving on his own. And he was there before that Loki was a little, you know, probably a couple hours, I would assume, because over the time and the way the TVA works. So he was there and he was avoiding all the other Lokis. So I was like, okay, he's actually got this thing down. So it actually made me wonder how badass Mobius actually is now, kind of trying to figure out how he's been surviving on his own. So I thought that was pretty dope too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And like again, like you cast Owen Wilson so you can keep him, right? So I want to see how he's going to, like, what his role is going to be in the MCU going forward. Because I'm like, depending on how all of this stuff with the Timekeeper shakes out, it's like, does Mobius run the TVA and repurposes the TVA to do something else? Who knows? I'm kind of just spitballing there. But Abe, what are your thoughts on like Mobius showing up to save Sylvie?
I was happy. You know, it's like, hey, Mobius survived however long he's been chilling here. Glad that we got the option that we know that, hey, he's still going to be in the MCU because Owen Wilson did a good job. I'm not a big Owen Wilson fan, but I enjoyed his performance as Mobius. It was really, really
wow.
good.
He's
Yeah,
so funny, bro.
wow.
Wedding Crashers.
I don't really
Come
care.
on,
No,
bro.
no. Hall Pass is the one that got me.
Yeah,
Hall
right.
Pass is so
The
good.
whole pass is good.
But I will say that it made for some good touching moments. The dialogue, I had never had an issue with dialogue in this series at all. And looking forward to what Mobius might be able to do. Well, you know, in his comics, he does interact a lot with the Fantastic Four, and it's like, look, we always talk about how everything's been pointing to Kang and whatnot, but they've been doing a good job of preparing the MCU to make sense when the Fantastic Four comes in, so that the storylines are already there, rather than it's like, all right, we got the Fantastic Four in here and we're going to just create storylines. It's like, nah, they already have certain like opponents that exist in the MCU. They're going to have their conflicts already set up. I said this in the beginning, and I'm going to reiterate this again. Loki was the one Marvel show I was the most hype about, and this has not disappointed at all. At all. It has not disappointed. I'm so my goodness. Oh my goodness, yo.
Vash.
I love Mobius as a character. It hurts me to say when Abe said that he don't like Owen Wilson, because it just makes me want to say, wow, that just hurts me. That just hurts me so much. But I love how Mobius just rides in the car with our girl Sylvie, and she's just being a total backseat driver, and like just go faster, go faster. And the Mobius like, you're one of those of Loki. But I knew he meant both backseat driver, but also man, like you're such like a Loki that will comment on everything that we're doing, trying to like if you want to do it yourself. So that was great. That was a great narrative. Also, to speak about the technical aspect, I love how when our girl Sylvie came out the bus and like just broke the glass and jumped out, and then she saw the smoke. I love how they pan the shot while she's running, but then just transition to the slow-mo shot of her grabbing like a thread of the cloud, aka alive, and see what's inside the castle in on top of the asteroid. I love how they did a pan shot and everything, like showing that this is how it's gonna foreshadow to how we're gonna get to see who's ever at the end of the void. So I love how that kind of foreshadow with the plot and everything. So that was my favorite part of the scene because it was a nice pan shot. And with Mobius and everything, like making jokes and asking, like, wait, there's a classic Loki, there's a kid Loki, and there's an alligator Loki. So I love how Mobius acts like us as the audience, making jokes and like asking like, wait, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing and everything. So I'm shocked that they didn't get no type of ad as well for the pizza car, like no type of Domino's, no type of Pizza Hut either. Like that would have been funny too.
I just really wish we could have been on like a body of water and got like a jet ski, or just like him pulling up to a dock like right on the side of a, you know what I'm saying, and then he just
that might happen like in episode 6 most likely.
I wouldn't be surprised because he's got his he can go wherever he wants to. Yeah. And he said that he was like, when I go back to the TVA, I'm gonna burn that shit to the ground. So
yeah.
So I hope we see that. I really hope that's not a pan shot off screen. I hope we actually see something with Mobius and Renslayer, that they interact, they argue, the fight. Who knows what it is? But I want to see something that actually burns the TVA or he takes in charge. Hopefully it's not some type of off screen type of scene, because I really want to see that happening.
Yeah, I think he'll make a few stops before he still goes to the TVA for sure.
Yeah, so we finally get the meetup of classic Loki, Kid Loki, our Loki, Alligator Loki with Sylvie and Mobius, and we start to go over the plan. And I just love this actress. Like, the actress that plays Sylvie does such a good job. It's like, really, your plan was just to kill Alioth? Really? That was, like, that was your plan? That's the best you got?
and everybody was like, that wasn't my plan. They're like, no, that wasn't my plan. That was his plan. Deflect and stuff like that.
Each one by one was like,
okay. Loki, I had some questions.
Yeah,
I was kind of saying. Oh man, it was hilarious. Yo. Look, I hope that we can can get more of Lady Loki. I hope we get more of Sylvie in the MCU. I hope that this is not the last time we see her, because if it is, I might actually cry during the season finale. I won't cry on the live, of course, because I'll be fine. But when I watch it Wednesday morning at 12:15 a.m., I'll probably shed a tear.
For me, one of my favorite scenes in that episode, in the scene when they all met up, and when Cassie Loki asks like, "So you never caught this alligator Loki and everything? Like you never caught him?" And when Mobius like, maybe he's lying that he's Loki, we don't know. But at the same time, if he's lying, that's all part of the game. Like with all you Lokis, a game is your type of chess piece and everything. And I love how Mobius was trying to interact with Lokis and trying to understand them, but at the same time, like he was just having fun with them. I love how it just felt like a game, but felt like they're just hanging out. But then the scene after that of how flirtatious Sylvie and Loki were with each other, saying, you know, a blanket, you know, it's cold here. You know, if you want, I could put the blanket over you. And then when she said that if you want, you could change his clothes for me because his clothes are very uncomfortable. I was like, are we about to just snap a new like a whole new wardrobe right now? Like just snap a whole new wardrobe on her? I'm like, I want to see some type of Loki outfit on her, like some little green, little black outfit on her. But it happened. I'm like, damn, what didn't happen? Like,
shout out
Loki,
to
you
Loki.
just ignored it. What happened?
Shout out to Loki in that game though, because they're frost giants, bro. They can't get cold. They just wanted to get close. So shout out to the game.
Yo, I was waiting for like, hey, you mean you could just snap your fingers full blanket? Like I thought he was gonna build up to it. But look, when she says, "Can I trust you?" Like, how do I know I can trust you? I'm like, shorty, I'm rooting for both of y'all. But don't trust him, baby. Don't focus on you, baby. Focus on don't trust him
right now. I'm like, we gonna get a Nexus at the end of time, huh?
Kid Loki, we about to have another Kid Loki on the way. Like, just telling you, move over. Like, nah, dog. It's the dialogue is not wasted. I love so much, and multiple times throughout this scene, how we're seeing Loki, how he just feels emotionally, and how he has developed so much emotionally. Because again, I keep reiterating this, and I know it should be set in stone by now. This is a Loki that doesn't have all the character development that we're used to. You got to keep in mind, this was before Dark World happened. This was before Infinity's War, before Endgame. Like, this is a whole new Loki, just freshly cut Loki. You know, we still need to polish it, dress it up. So this is what the show is doing. And multiple times throughout this episode, we've seen that, you know, when he finds out Mobius is alive, the pure joy to see Mobius again. Like, you could tell he was super psyched for that. Of course, his pleasure of seeing Sylvie, this conversation with Sylvie. Like I said, don't trust Loki, Sylvie. I mean, you should know. Don't trust him.
Trust him.
But you know, there's some truth there. In my opinion, behind every lie, there's some truth, right? And he generally does feel for you, for sure. I mean, I don't know about like. At the end of the day, Loki's gonna do what a Loki does. So there might be a situation that ends up betraying you. It wasn't his intention, but like Loki's situation, Loki's are also arrogant. They're selfish. I just enjoy how we're constantly seeing how soft, how vulnerable, how transparent that our Loki can be. And when we get to it, it's a reason why, even though I've been on the Kang train so hard, and I'm still kind of on the train, I've also put my foot on another train because it makes the most sense for the emotional character development of Loki.
Yeah, man. And I'll give one, like, when we get there, but like I have many very specific reasons why I kind of think it's one over the three, but I'm just gonna name all three and just leave it at that. Whichever one it is, it is. So let's cut back to the TVA real quick. We finally see that B-15's been locked up, and Renslayer went to visit B-15 to try to get information from her to find out, like, what did Sylvie tell you? What did she show you, right? And B15 just wants to reveal to the rest of the TVA, like, yo, we're all variants. We were stolen from our home worlds, from our timelines, and all of our friends, everything that we knew was erased. They deserve to know that. So I'm hoping that B15 escapes for the finale and is somehow able to help out Loki and Sylvie. I'm not sure how that'll work out. I'm not sure if B15 will show up like later on. Like, I don't know, because we have to see if Mobius will probably help her escape. And Mobius and B15 will take over the TVA together. So, Steve, I want to toss it to you. Like, what did you think about that scene? And what do you think Mobius and B15 will do in the finale?
So I thought that scene was, in a sense, I thought that was really telling too, because now you've had multiple people see that they're all like variants. They all are telling you, and they're coming to you. And Renslayer still, in a sense, is unfazed. Like, she doesn't care about her past life. That's the main reason why I feel like she kind of knows. Because it's like, why are you not like interested in trying to find out about your past life? You might have a kid out there. You might have a husband. You have everything. You know what I'm saying? And you're not even the least bit interested at all. So that's kind of telling to me. But that scene was just really, it was really powerful to me, just because of the fact that she's just like, I just want to tell. We need to let these people know. We need to know. And I thought that was really dope. And like you said, for episode 6, obviously, Mobius is going back to burning to the ground. B15 is trapped in that room. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and they keep doing B15. They're doing like little drops of like, here she is, and then she goes, and then here she is, and she goes. Because at the end of the last episode, she gets knocked out, and they prune Loki, but you kind of, she's like an afterthought in that scene, because they cut off the TVA, the timekeeper's heads, and all this other stuff. But she's been knocked out, so she's there. So then when she pops up, you're like, oh, okay, she's captured. That makes sense. And then as soon as this is over, they walk out the room and nothing happens. They don't prune her. They don't do anything. So she's more so of an afterthought in this scene again. So she's definitely, I think she'll definitely be in episode 6. I think Owen Wilson, Mobius will go and get her, and then they'll do whatever they do, cause chaos.
I also don't think C20's dead. I also think C20 is in prison somewhere. I don't think she was pruned. I don't think she's dead. So Mobius, C20, B15, oh yeah, they're gonna raise hell at the fucking TVA, bro. Vash, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Like I text you guys in the group chat after my third or second rewatch, I love the conversation that when Renslayer asked her what drives her, and she said revenge. And then that's what she noticed, like, you want to know what is going behind the TV, like you want to know. But then she said, but you won't catch up to her because she needs to find who's behind it. So I love the conversation between want and need, because we always get told this by our parents as kids. There's always a difference of want and need. That need is something that you are hungry for, like it's what you strive for. And a want is something that is kind of like an afterthought. So I love that conversation of Renslayer and plus B15, because that's a very important thought to note that I feel like Sylvie might die at the end of the season, meaning next episode, because this is something that she's been going for. This has been her mission the whole time, who to find the TVA, who's behind us, because this is her need. But then after this, what is the source that's going to continue pushing her? What's the source that's continue striving her? So that's why I'm curious to know where is that going to go, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, bro. Like, there's so much, man. Like, I can't wait to see B15 really kick ass. Can't wait to see C20 kick some ass. I can't wait to see what Mobius is gonna do now that he's completely pissed off. He has a new like outlook on life, and like he wants to burn all this shit to the ground so that he can get back to some form of a normal life, man. So I really can't wait to see what they do in this finale, and which is why, like we were talking about earlier, which is why I'm hoping it's like 90 minutes, at least like 80 minutes at least, because how do we wrap up in 46 minutes, bro? Like, I just don't see it. You know what I mean?
You can't do it.
Dog, I will look if it's not 80 minutes, if it's not 90, it should be 90 minutes. If it's not 90 minutes, I swear, look at you. Marvel, Kevin Feige, I know you're watching C4SVillains right now because it's the hottest show on
You should.
on the YouTube interwaves. Like y'all, you need. I know you watch it because this is a sleeper. It's a sleeper. C4SVillains. Definitely make sure you follow them. Right. Follow my man JP and follow my man Vash as on all social media. Okay, Kevin Feige, you listening? You listening? You listening? Look, sir. If this show is not 90 minutes, I will head over to Disneyland and I will cause terror. I will damage all rides. I will light every store on fire. I will jump Mickey Mouse. I will jump him. So again, make this season finale 90 minutes, please. Please. It don't take that much.
Please.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
And we know you're watching, Feige, so.
If you do want to send us some type of sneak peek of the episodes or clips, please do. Just go to the Gmail, on the YouTube side, just send it to us, and we will review it very well, and non-spoiler as well.
I can play random elevator person number 3 in your movie if you would like me.
Hey, Kevin Feige, I'm not asking to be cast as T'Challa. I'm not asking that at all. But I would like to be in the Wakandan army who lasts a couple episodes. Lasts a couple. Make me. Can I be dating a member of the Dora Milaje? Can I do that?
Right?
Would you mind?
Yo,
I just want to be cast.
Dibs on Io. Dibs on Io.
I just want to be cast as Miguel Parra, Spider-Man 2099. That's why I want to be cast. If you like,
see, you aiming for the stars right now. We're being humble. We're being humble. We're like,
got it by ice cream at Spider-Man's. I can do that.
This man said, "I want to be the show.
Yeah,
I want to be the main character.
I don't have to be the main character. I could just be the side piece. I just don't. I don't need to be Peter Parker, Miles Morales. I could be the side piece. Miguel O'Hara 2099.
I am perfectly fine with being a secondary MC. Killua, Bakugo. I'm Gucci, bro. I'm good.
Yeah, me too. I'm good. I don't need to be Miles Morales. I shouldn't be Spider-Man 29, the great grandson. I'm good. Right? I'm good. That's all. I'm happy for.
As a matter of fact, Okoye is on the market for a new man's. So.
Hey, Okoye, how you doing, Sean? 1v, hey, I'm down with it.
So let's talk about this final big sequence, because I want to spend the last bit of the podcast just gushing about all of the Easter eggs. So let's talk about that end sequence where Sylvie plans to enchant Alioth in order to get past him, and then Loki gets the flaming sword from Kid Loki, and classic Loki shows up and makes a construct of Asgard, bro. Do you have any idea how much fucking magic that had to take for him to build, and multiple versions of it too? Because as Alioth is breaking it down, he's rebuilding an entire structure of Asgard, which is a plane of existence. So I thought that was absolutely incredible. I thought the score was amazing in that moment. The visual effects were on point, and
Yes,
Richard
it
E.
was.
Grant was acting his fucking ass off, bro, in that scene. So, Steve, what did you think about this final sequence?
Applaud to Richard E. Grant, because before I even do that, because I was seeing on Twitter, he posted a picture of him in the Loki costume, and he's all like, my dad used to make fun of me for dressing up as superheroes, and he was all like, if he was alive today, this would be a last, laugh at him. So shout out to Richard Grant for that. But man, yeah, he was really killing it. And then he was just like Vash said earlier, Loki looked at her and he was like, man, I guess we don't know how strong we really are, because you know what I'm saying? He's showing out right now. Like literally, Alioth is disintegrating everything that he's creating, and he just keeps building it and giving him more time to enchant Alioth and everything like that. And what I did notice is Sylvie tells Loki, you can enchantment too because you're a Loki. So you can. And I noticed that when they're doing the enchantments, their hands turn green. And original Loki, his hands were turning green at the very end, right before Alioth decides to wipe him out. And I was wondering, I was like, that like some enchantment stuff that he knows too, or is that, you know what I'm saying, something that I just, you know, spitballing and just doing a lot on. But that scene was just dope. I just love the fact that he just willed himself into like, I'm going to make sure that they get this job done, and he fought to the last breath. You know,
Yeah, man. Like, again, his acting in that scene, like him just acknowledging, like, because I felt like a moment was coming for him when he was talking to Mobius, and Mobius was like, yeah, I mean, it's never too late to do the right thing, or it's never too late to change your mind, whatever it is that he says. And you can see the look on Richard E. Grant's face, and then you can see when he looks back, when Classic Loki looks back at Sylvie and Loki fighting, that he wants to do something good for once. He wants to do something completely selfless, and right at the end, before Alioth like disintegrates him, well, a version of him, I think, you know, like you can see one tear rolling down his eye, and then he screams glorious purpose, bro. Like, it gave me goosebumps watching that scene. Abe, like, what did you love about that scene?
First of all, you know, I'm saying all of this knowing that there's a huge possibility that Classic Loki is still alive, huge possibility. But regardless, remember that emotional development I was talking about for Loki. At this moment, Loki sees a version of himself that makes the ultimate sacrifice, as we all come to understand. Because alive embraces you, like you're done, you don't exist anymore, you're gone. To see a Loki who had no business doing it. I mean, classic Loki, and then they were like, "Hey, you know, we take you this far, but we don't be out here surviving because that's what Lokis do, survive." To have that ultimate sacrifice. Keep in mind, Loki himself was willing to make that ultimate sacrifice. He watched himself sacrifice himself for Thor when he saw the events of Infinity War, of Infinity War, and to now see a version of himself basically do the same thing. Yo, that emotional development it's so precious. It's so precious. Like,
yeah, man,
it makes me so excited for what's for coming in episode 6. Definitely makes me so excited.
Yeah, dude, like getting to see all of these different like versions of Loki is really getting insight into his different like parts of his personality, you know, which also leads to one of the people that I think is actually behind the TVA and the Timekeepers. But Vash, what were some of your favorite moments from this scene?
For me, what I love about this, when he screamed, knowing that he, like Steve said, he could have used his magic and could have disappeared. So he probably could not be dead. We have no confirmation. But if this was his last moments of death and him screaming glorious purpose, I love that because it foreshadowed in the beginning of the episode and him screaming like, Loki this, Loki that, you know, glorious purpose. You know, we always want something granted, but we always, you know, lie and cheat to each other and everything, and we always betray each other. And I love how he just screamed, and I love the actor literally just put his soul into that scene. It's just saying the line, like just 2 words, but the line was so well said. I love it. I would have not changed it in any other way. And the way while you guys were talking, it made me realize like this Loki is the one from New York from 2012, but the one that from the TVA, he saw his future of his story progression from Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, but then he's seeing different Loki. So like, I love how this Loki that we're getting, you know, hopefully he survives and everything. We don't know what's going to be coming of the future of this MCU, but we're getting like a mix of different Loki personalities and evolve Loki. Like this Loki is literally just speed through character progression like no tomorrow, and I just love that. So I'm really curious to see like he's just all mixed emotions. Like that's why he's on high of adrenaline, because he's been going through this, like you said, weeks, months, days, we don't know. So I just love how him meeting different versions, him going through different type of emotions. So this scene really impacted him in such a deep level that he hasn't even had the time to process it, because he's right now just going to the end goal of the TVA. So I'm curious to know if right after we like the last 5 minutes or last probably 10 minutes of the episode, are we gonna get like some type of breakdown like of him himself, like understanding what he just been through this past days or months. So that's why I can't wait to see as well.
Yeah, man, like this scene was absolutely incredible again. The acting, The visual effects were really on point for me. The fact that he was able to construct an entire version of Asgard to distract Alioth. Again, like, we are so fortunate as comic book fans right now that I can walk down the road and tell someone, hey, yeah, I was just watching Loki, and yeah, classic Loki fought Alioth. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, it's just so fucking crazy to say that, because as a kid, I never thought I would ever see these things brought to live action, right? Like, Blade was like, at that time, was like the closest thing it's like we'll ever get to Marvel live action, getting to see like vampires on screen, like Spider-Man, X-Men, but like shit like this, like super deep cuts. Like, we're gonna start talking about Easter eggs right now. Like Vash brought up earlier, the fucking Thanos copter. Who saw that coming? Like, right? So let's get into it. Let's get into it, right? Steve, I want to start with you, and I want you to name off some of your favorite Easter eggs from this episode, because there is a shit ton, bro.
Favorite Easter egg number one is Thor Frog or Throg or whatever. That was my favorite one, because I heard it in the first time I watched it. I heard it, but it kind of went kind of quickly, so I didn't know what it was. So then on a rewatch, I was waiting for that scene. And I was like, "Oh shoot, it's the Thor Frog!" And I thought that was definitely it's a callback to Thor when he was like strapped in that little small glass space inside of a Thor Ragnarok. And then it's like spinning around and the hammer's moving around. He makes those same exact noises as Thor Frog inside of the glass. And I was all like, oh shoot, that's cool.
Yeah.
Obviously the Thanos copter, but you guys pointed that one out to me, so I didn't technically catch that one. I think I don't know if this is an Easter egg or if it's just me really sticking with this. There's multiple Mobiuses. Mobius doesn't remember ever seeing an alligator come through the TVA, but he's the overseer kind of all of the people that come through the TVA. So would that mean that maybe another Mobius saw him come through? So I thought that was kind of an Easter egg for it as well.
Potentially, man. We know there's another analyst.
What I'm shocked about is that Sylvie never enchanted him. Like, we never got his mind to be fully free. So I'm curious to know why that never happened, why Mobius or why Sylvie never chose to do it.
Mobius too good for that. Mobius too smart for that. He don't need it.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be convinced. He already...
No, he doesn't. But like, I would have liked for him to see his past, like us audience, like for him to really like, wait, is he a clone? Because we know from the comics that he's a clone. There's other clones of him, but I just want to know. But MCU, the writers and directors probably were like, wait, let's not show them this yet. Let's show them maybe next episode or probably in the future that maybe he's a clone. But like, I would have liked a bit more information. Like, damn it, they were smart to not show us that little enchantment on him.
Yeah. Steve, were there any other Easter eggs that you wanted to talk about?
No. That's pretty much it for me. I didn't catch as many Easter eggs as maybe you guys did. Or maybe I'm missing them, a lot of them, but I'm pretty sure I'm about to find out about them and about to watch the episode when this goes off, man.
I'm gonna go last because I want to see what you guys are gonna bring up, and then I'm gonna bring up all of the ones that you don't bring up. So, Abe, you're up next. Like, what were some of your favorite Easter eggs from this episode?
I'm not even sure if this really counts as an Easter egg, but Alioth clearly was my favorite Easter egg, and then of course President Loki, but the one that look, I don't know if everybody noticed this, I think by now, but we saw what looked to be the Avengers Tower in the background, but there wasn't a giant A. Instead, it said
or Stark.
Q. No, it didn't. It wasn't an A or a Stark. It said QENG. You might be like, how do you pronounce that, Abe? Oh, maybe something like Kang.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's like, the funny thing about this whole series for me, and this is why this is one of my favorite Easter eggs, is that every reference that we've gotten towards Kang has been like to a different version of him, to a different iteration of him. Kang Enterprise, owner of that building, that's when he went by Mr. Griffin. We have the idea of Kang the Conqueror, the main iteration. We also have rumors that might include Immortus, or even Immortus might be involved with the TVA. It's like, And then of course there's rumors about Iron Lad, another version of Kang. It's like, damn, they really setting it up to have to introduce storylines that include all the iterations, because he has such a deep and rich history in the comics. And when I saw that tower, I was like, yeah, we probably gonna get Kang next episode. We should at least see him for like 20 seconds, maybe in the after credit scene. But we gotta get Kang. That was for me. Those were my faves.
Vash?
One of my favorites is that for people that don't know your history, that ship that landed on in one of I found Goliath, that ship. I forgot what it called, but back then people did experiments. Our government was trying to do some type of
the USS Eldridge.
Thank you. I just figured I wrote it down, but our government was trying to do some use cloaking, and I love how MCU threw jabs or jokes on it where they try to do the cloaking. So for some people, they thought it worked. They disappear, I think, for a couple of minutes, but they felt like they time travel. Some weird type of things that's been going on in the history. And I love how in Loki, the reason they actually disappear is because they teleported into the void and then they got eaten by Alive. So I just love that little Easter egg. That was funny for me. Throgford, that is freaking awesome. Like to see it from the cartoons from Marvel Avengers, to see it from the comics, not to see in live action. I hope he comes out, because I would love to actually see Chris Hemsworth actually voice Frogthor. So like that'll be amazing. I saw if that actually happens. And one of my favorite shit that, like I said in the beginning of the episode, we actually got freaking Thanos helicopter. Like that is freaking wild. Like I didn't really expect to ever see that was a meme in the comics. Like why would Thanos need a helicopter? What for? Why would this big ass dude need a helicopter? But it became a meme, and we actually got it in the live action. And like, so that means in some type of timeline, Thanos actually rode that helicopter. What I've actually like to see, hell yes, I would actually like to see that. So those type of things was amazing. And like I also mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, Yellow Jacket, big head, like that came out of nowhere. So I'm curious to know, like, what did Hank Pym, first student, had to do to go from Giant Man for Yellow Jacket? Like that's amazing. Or maybe was that actually the original Hank Pym that in the other timeline became the Yellow Jacket because he became psycho in the version of the comics and used to beat up the wife. So it's like, this is amazing, because for people who don't know, the original Yellow Jacket was Hank Pym in the comics, and he was a bad guy because he just became psychotic and everything. And for people who don't know, that we spoke about it on the animated podcast, or thing on Villains or Roger, Hank Pym used to beat up his wife and everything. So this type of timeline, I just love to see, like those little type of Easter eggs is amazing.
Yeah, man. Like, you guys brought up some great ones. I'm actually glad that you guys didn't mention any of the ones that I was going to mention, because we're going to get really fucking sweaty in this shit. So you can see the Sanctum Sanctorum from Doctor Strange. In one of the first shots, one of the first shots pulling in, you can see the Sanctum Sanctorum. The Lokis walk past like this really old rocket. It's actually Red Skull's rocket from Captain America: The First Avenger. You can tell from its design. I thought that was really fucking dope.
Nice one.
You can also see the Dark Aster, which is Ronan's ship, off into the distance when they first show up to see Alioth. That was fucking dope. You can also see one of the Project Insight helicarriers that actually has the Hydra logo sprayed on top of it. So if you haven't seen that, go see it. It's actually really fucking sick. We got to see
that one. Did not notice.
We got to see a statued head of the Living Tribunal. This is the second reference to the Living Tribunal that the MCU has done. The first one that we saw was in Doctor Strange, with Mordo having the staff of the Living Tribunal. So that was fucking dope. And the Lighthouse of Alexandria, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world, that was dope. We got to see the pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx that actually has its nose still attached to it. So I'm wondering, like, what happened with that Nexus event.
Tell him about that Sphinx. Hold on.
Oh yeah. So the pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, and a couple other things that show up in this void are a part of Chronopolis, which belongs to Kang, bro. There's so many things that lead to Kang, bro.
Because keep in mind,
the
Kang
Kang
travels in the Sphinx. He travels in the Sphinx, and so it's possible. Not saying it is. It's possible, and this might be his ship. Just throw it down. Just
yeah. And also, there's also like bones of like these like there's just like giant bones on the graveyard. I think those are Chitauri worms. I could be wrong. I have nothing to base that on, but the way that they look, they kind of look like the Chitauri worms. But someone smarter will tell me if I'm correct. But the Kang Easter eggs, man, the Kang Enterprises, Renslayer, Alioth, the color scheme of so many different things from this episode, Chronopolis, Immortus. There's so many things that lead to Kang, but is it, right? So let's get into it. Let's get into it. And I kind of want to go first if you guys don't mind. But I want to tell you guys the 3 beings that I think could be behind the TVA. First one that I think is behind the TVA, obviously we were just talking about it. All roads lead to Kang the Conqueror, but we've been misdirected many times. There were a lot of things that led to Mephisto and Nightmare in WandaVision. Didn't even happen. All of it was just Easter eggs leading up to potential like future appearances, right? Here's the thing. It could also be King Loki. And I went on like this whole rant on Twitter on why I think it could be King Loki. One reason, all of these Disney Plus series so far, all of the movies see our main protagonists go up against a version of themselves. So it's probably going to be King Loki because of that. Also, King Loki, like I was saying in my Twitter post, I think that King Loki decided that I want to be an even greater ruler than Odin. And when he created his Nexus event, he ran from the TVA. And much like Sylvie, he figured out that if he hid in places where Nexus events can't be created, he could hide forever. How does he become a greater ruler than the Allfather himself? He rules over all time. Sylvie called Loki a magician. What do magicians do? Misdirect. So he's ruling over all time, creates the TVA, creates the timekeepers, so that no one thinks that it's a Loki. Right? And then on top of that, like we talked about before, we've seen so many different versions of Loki showing us the different parts of his personality. This could be the one true, actually like evil version of Loki that we're going to see, right? And there's a bunch of other reasons that I could go into why I think it's King Loki, aka ALawal, right? I think ruling over all time is his glorious purpose, right? The third person that it could be is He Who Remains, which was the being that created the timekeepers in the first place. Where is his home base, you ask? The Citadel at the end of time. Where are we in Loki right now? At the end of time. And that castle could easily be a representation of that Citadel, right? So it could be those 3 beings, right? He Who Remains, King Loki, aka ALawal, or Kang the Conqueror. I can't pick just one. It can easily be all 3. Because much like in The Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain was just some random old guy. Guess what? He Who Remains, random old guy. The theme of Loki has been The Wizard of Oz this entire time. So it could be He Who Remains, but we have no idea. Steve, I know when I brought this up in our Twitter chat, you also thought He Who Remains. So I want to hear your thoughts on why you think it's He Who Remains and anyone else.
So I thought it was He Who Remains, and I tried to keep it low in the chat because I wanted to be this mind-blowing, and it didn't end up happening that way. You were like, no, I think it's He Who Remains. I was like, fuck, can't put nothing past JB. Yeah, I definitely think it's He Who Remains just because of the theme kind of has been, at least for Loki and WandaVision, has kind of been giving these older school vibes while they went through sitcoms, things like that. And for Loki, it's been kind of music kind of vibes. Like some of the music that they've been playing has been older, themes like that of like things of the past. And I'm really feeling like throughout that, we all the different music and stuff like that, we have gotten that. And then we've gotten the old school themes of, like you said, Wizard of Oz. We've gotten a lot of that. And I'm really thinking He Who Remains is the one. That's only because, like, you know what I'm saying? Mainly because on my read, that's who was behind it all, was He Who Remains. But I do want to throw this out there. And the only reason I'm throwing this out there is because if I'm right, it's like I look like a fucking genius. And if I'm wrong, it's like, no sweat off my back. King Loki is the OG Loki, Richard E. Grant. Richard E. Grant cast a spell to convince you that he's dead. We see the dust in the back. And when we get there, the big bad King Loki will be Richard E. Grant. He's
possible,
set,
bro.
He's set for 3 episodes. He's set for 3 episodes.
I rock with
There's
that
no way that he's
much.
not in this next episode unless they just randomly do a flashback. And then, like I said, it's no sweat off my back. But if I'm right, I look like the fucking genius of the group. For the
So that would be such a Loki thing to do. To be
To
like,
fuck
oh
with
yeah,
them.
of course, I'll help sight. I mean,
and on top of that, it would explain why he's all like, oh yeah, I was just gone for so many years and I just sat there. That would tell you what he was doing.
Yeah, he was gone building the TVA. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I think.
And they picked him up. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see where you're going with this.
I think that's what it'd be.
All right, Vash.
Damn, Steve actually gave a good one there. Like me, to tell you to say, not because what were happening with Mephisto when me and James were trying to theorize who's the villain, Nightmare, Mephisto, is it Thanos, this, like, I didn't try to theorize for this because I just want to be blown away. Not saying that if I put some type of theory out there, I'm gonna be wrong and I'm gonna be mad. I don't give two shits about the like a lot of fans care about that on Twitter. Me, the reason I don't have some crazy theory of who is because it's literally the same as what James said. Not as Steve, because I didn't think it was gonna be classic Loki, but I thought it's either King Loki or it's either Kang. Those are two that's gonna be the most not obvious, but the ones that are two most hinted. And if people saw the trailer, we saw a guy that rules Asgard. We haven't seen that version of Loki yet. So like, hey, Marvel has put some not fake footage. They have put some footage that they don't use in the actual show. They just put it for trailers. They could have done that for this as well for Loki, but it is possible that's the version we're gonna see, King Loki, or I called that James said, or Kang. But if we do see Kang, it's funny because Marvel posted the episode 6 promo for episode 6, like I think like Wednesday afternoon. I think it was like around 4 p.m. EST or like 2 p.m. EST. And it's funny how they have Kang in the thumbnail, but then don't have him in the actual footage of the 45 seconds promo, but they have the voice actor of Marvel's Avengers Assemble. So it's like, yo, y'all playing smart because y'all know what is being said on the timeline, on social media and everything, but y'all post him on thumbnail, so y'all already have him look and design ready. Y'all probably have so we might have seen him in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of next week episode. But again, it could be King Loki. It could be Kang. It's hard to say where the fuck are we going. I'd love to give a better theory. I would love to give one like how Steve just came up with, like, hey, polyclassic look. I'm like, shit, I don't got anything like that. Or I got the same thing like James said. So all I can say, I'm excited. I don't know who is. Last night, somebody said it could be Doom, but I'm like, nah, it can't be Doom. Like, that's just straight out of left field, straight out of misdirect. And Doom won't really be here in the end of Void unless that we already seen Doom in the past 3 versions of the MCU. Then it makes sense why he's by himself, because he's tired of all these humans.
You should
build. We are all garbage.
You should build to that Doom. I don't think we should start off with a Doom that's that powerful. I think that's a bit much.
Yeah.
We don't want to start
like there's no way.
Yeah,
but Abe, what do you think?
Look, y'all know when I first started the show, I was on the Secret Wars train, and I haven't mentioned that lately. I just want to reiterate again that this show can still provide us the groundwork for Secret Wars. Cool. As you guys know, I've been on the Kang is coming train, Kang is here train, and look,
And now?
I'm still a strong believer. I mean, we got Kang Enterprises, Alioth. We got so many Kang references. Like, stop playing with me, Marvel. I really have been talking with my eyes closed. Look, stop playing with me, Marvel. Okay, stop playing with me. I just need a cameo. I just need a cameo. 20, 30 seconds after credits. That's all I need to tell me, like, yo, that's Kang, or like, you know, some in the chat, one of you mentioned, I think JB or Steve or even Vash mentioned that, you know, he could be in stasis. And you know, if you want to have him in stasis and then have Renslayer come up and like wipe the glass and it's Kang, and then boom, it's done, I'm with it. I'm with it. However,
Just
thanks to JB, I've realized how important it would be for it to be ALawal, aka King Loki. Although Steve's theory actually makes me even want it to be King Loki even more, especially if classic Loki is King Loki.
Yeah, dude.
Because for this main reason that I've been mentioning several times, the emotional character development. If you have it be, first of all, if you have it be King Loki, Loki is just seeing a version of himself give the ultimate sacrifice. Loki throughout this whole series has met other versions of himself that, you know, and there was the idea of like, oh, I'm the superior one. No, you're not the superior one. And it's like, oh, you guys are imbeciles, frustrated, whatnot. Be like, oh, they always think they're better than the other. And Loki has kind of been humbled. A word I've said numerous episodes. Loki's always ended up being humbled a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. For it to be King Loki, the ultimate evil. King Loki is the most evil version of Loki we'll ever get in comics, as far as I remember. He's known as Loki, the master of evil. He's known as Loki, the god butcher. Like, this guy is pure evil Loki. And Loki's always like, yeah, you know, I'm this tough guy. You're now about to meet a real tough guy.
And remember, Mjolnir belongs to ALawal as well. So
yeah,
remember that.
So it just tells you, like, yo, Loki, is this who you think you could be? Like, can you actually see yourself doing this? After everything you've been through, do you see yourself like this? And him coming to terms like, you know what, that's not, I have to change my goals. It'd be so dope. But now with Steve's theory, for it to end up being classic Loki and for Loki to be like, I thought that was the ultimate sacrifice. And no, you're just pure evil. You mocked me. To create that clash and to make that conflict with him himself even bigger, because he can go the route of, you know, like, oh, I want to be different. I don't want to be a villain. Or like, yo, I got played. Like, this dude thought he had me. Like, no, I can show him I'm better than that. And having that moral clash ambiguity within Loki is so beautiful. So I want Steve's theory to be true, because that'd be just so dope. But I also wanted to just be King Loki in general, because the emotional character development, him coming to grips with the ultimate evil version of himself, is just so dope to see and imagine. And the dialogue, like I said, the dialogue is never been wasted. That dialogue is going to be hitting. It's going to hit. So yeah, I'm hoping this King Loki.
I didn't hit on my time stone theory, so I'm like, all right, I'm swinging for the fences with this one.
It was a really good one, though. It was a really good theory, bro. But it's like,
I really thought he had it, because when I heard you guys talking about it, and I'm like, wait, but the building went back to where it was. I'm like, but we still don't have no confirmation that he probably still has it. He just haven't used it. So maybe in episode 6 he might use it again, and that's where Steve theory might come true. So hey, Steve, do not leave your theory yet, because you still got one more episode. So do not leave it as chopped liver yet.
Another reason why I'm kind of pushing more towards He Who Remains, like I'm on the same level with all three, but if I had to like push one in a direction, like look at this breakdown of He Who Remains powers. He has divine cosmic power, genetic manipulation. He's immortal, probability manipulation, reality manipulation, time manipulation, and time travel. These are all things needed to do everything to create the TVA. Plucking people out of time, that's time traveling, the time manipulation. However, they're creating like those the reset charges. Like he would have the ability to change their memories, to suppress their old memories, give them new ones, into thinking that they were born to serve, they were created to serve the TVA and the Timekeepers. He has all of these powers built in. But again, a lot of these series, all of these movies, everyone has always faced someone opposite of them, right? Like great example, the first Iron Man, we got Ironmonger versus Iron Man, right? Like in Doctor Strange, Sorcerer on Sorcerer. In WandaVision, we got Wanda versus Agatha. Like, this is a pattern that's consistently going through the MCU, where they constantly face off against a final battle that is virtually just another version of them.
Captain America versus Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like,
right.
Yellow
Jacket, Ant-Man. This is a pattern that they've been doing. And for this to be a Loki series, for our Loki to truly get like true character development into what he's going to become after this, it's probably going to be King Loki, aka Coleman.
So to add to what James just said as well, I want to add more information because we got WandaVision. Wanda was her own protagonist and antagonist.
Yeah, right.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that the for Falcon, he didn't get the Winter Soldier serum. You know, he did not get the Super Soldier serum, but he fought people to like Captain America. So he was technically fighting a version of himself or the guy that he looked up to, the guy on the mantle of Captain America. The same thing with Loki. I agree, it's gonna be King Loki as well, because Loki is gonna. He has been redeeming himself to what the person we have ended with in Endgame / Infinity War. So this will be a version of him fighting for himself, just like James said. So in these past two series, they fought a version of themselves or some type of inner demon. Same thing in this. Loki is fighting his inner demon, aka himself, of King Loki. So I feel like it is the only way. And when you have some type of formula that's not bad or broken, don't break it, because it's been doing well for them, and they just have been executing much better with storytelling.
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do both. Like they do a He Who Remains for like the first like 5 minutes as a and then when it's like a, I don't know, an enchantment or anything to just make it look like that was what it really was, and then they reveal it's King Loki. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that as a just like as a tease of both of it, like, you know what I'm saying, just so people will kind of get that fan theory. Oh, see, I told you it was He Who Remained, and then when it's really revealed King Loki, I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that either.
So you guys don't have to come up with any predictions, but I kind of came up with like potential titles for the finale episode. So I chose was Glorious Purpose chosen already? Is that a title of one of the episodes already?
I don't think so. Let me see.
I don't think so.
I don't think it is. But yeah, Glorious Purpose, Stranger Tales, which is a run where a lot of characters were introduced that we saw in Loki, He Who Remains, or The Citadel at the End of Time. I think that would be really, really cool titles for the finale, as either like a misdirect or to tell us exactly what's happening in the series. Like, again, I don't expect you guys to...
Glorious Purpose, Steve, they might as well hire,
right?
So the first episode is called Glorious Purpose.
Okay. So Stranger Tales, He Who Remains, or The Citadel at the End of Time. I think those would be really, really cool titles for the finale episode.
So it's Glorious Purpose, The Variant, Lamentus, The Nexus Event, Journey into Mystery.
Okay.
And then...
So I was just about to say what Steve just said, and I think episode 6 might be called The Void or something like that, because each episode has a point of it, like Glorious Purpose. That's Loki's Glorious Purpose always, you know, all Loki's. The Variant, you know, we go find Sylvie. And Lamentus, that's about the planet. That's the main plot. And the Nexus event, like the whole idea of the event, like knowing why they was about to cause one, the journey into the mystery, like all solving this type of mystery with what's going on with the Void. I think next episode might be actually called The Void or The End of Time.
Probably, but that's where the Citadel, you know, that title hits, it bangs, because like,
that too. So that was going to be my third option. So it's either The Void, The End of Time, or The Citadel.
Yeah. Any one of those like would be amazing titles for that final episode, man. But we talked about a lot of shit breaking down this episode. This was, like Abe said in the beginning, probably my second favorite episode of the entire series. For some reason, like that Lamentus episode just like really, really hit me for some reason. I love that episode. But man, episode 5 was absolute flames. So many Easter eggs. Like just the thought that the Void could be like a version of Chronopolis. Just the thought of it just blows my mind. As a comic book fan, like I'm losing my fucking shit.
It's like, yo, give me Kang. I don't want to wait for Ant-Man 3. Give me Kang.
Yeah, man, just give me Kang right now, bro.
What if they name
away. I can't wait.
Chronopolis?
I swear to God. I swear to God.
I'd fucking lose it. I would lose it, bro.
Look. And if they didn't show me Kang, regardless, I'm rioting. I'm never watching. I'm rioting. If you go tease me like that, I'm rioting.
Yeah,
I know what Disneyland is.
Yeah, so I feel comfortable that we've covered pretty much everything in this episode. So I want to go around and just get like your final thoughts on the episode before we head out for the night. So Steve, I want to start with you. What are your final thoughts?
10 out of 10 for this episode. It was just really good. I enjoyed from beginning to end. I was like, okay, what are we going to do next? What are we going to do next? What are we going to do next? And then even when they walk through and they enchant Alioth and then they step through, I was just like, okay, cool. So I'm going to sit here and wait for after credits. Which is like, because I just wanted more. I didn't think that it was over. And then Marvel teasing you like they do, they sat there and made you watch the whole thing, and then they finally made it into a smaller box. I was like, okay, y'all some dicks. But yeah, I was definitely wanting more throughout the whole thing. I couldn't stop watching it. It was 10 out of 10 for me. Great.
Hell yeah. Abe?
Man, I said it in the beginning, second favorite episode so far. I said it at the beginning and I said it multiple times. Loki is going to be my favorite series of these new MCU shows for a long time. The only one that could probably threaten it, and to be honest, will just settle at second, is Moon Knight, just because of the way they'll be able to approach mental health, which will then bump Falcon and Winter Soldier to third. But I'm telling you, this show, this episode, I can't wait. You already know I'm going to riot at Disneyland. I know Marvel Studios is there, but I know Mickey Mouse is there, and I'm gonna jump in. Look, Loki, this episode was just fire. Just so fun, so enjoyable. Like, I loved it.
Yeah, man. Vash?
I will say it's a Blerd's purpose to finally be back here after 2 weeks. Thank you. After 2 weeks, after missing, being on vacation with friends and family and my anniversary and everything, and finally be back, having a purpose to bring to you guys and have a glorious conversation talking about Loki and an unexpected series that we knew was going to be good, but we didn't expect that was going to be this good. And to give us so much Easter eggs from the comics and have this much type of freedom and enjoy ourselves with this episode, like knowing that we're gonna see Helicopter Thanos, Frog Thor, and everything. Like I had such a blast with it. Like knowing that episode 6 coming out next week, and like I need it in my veins already. I need to know what was going on already, so I could just be relaxed and wait for the next series. Because as much as I love WandaVision and Captain Falcon the Winter Soldier, Loki just had me more on my toes. Like I wanted more. Like I couldn't wait. Like those other 2 series, I could wait. I had patience because it was fun to kind of craft the theory. But with this series, Loki, I wanted to actually see it already without waiting the week. So it just gives you to know that this is such a good writer. It's such a good director that they've been doing and producing for us as the audience and fans. Because if you're a Marvel fan, you've been enjoying yourself these past 7 months, and I'm very glad.
Yeah, Bryce, the only pushback I'll give is that our Loki now knows that he can do it, and he was also connected to Sylvie. So the point of them holding hands is for them to combine their abilities. So I kind of feel like Sylvie was pushing her magic through Loki, and then he was able to actually connect to it and amplify it, and that's how they were able to do it. But that's just what I think in my head. But like you guys already alluded to, man, like this episode was absolute flames. All of the Easter eggs, getting to see all of the different Loki variants. Like Vash keeps bringing up the Thanos copter, something I never thought I would ever see live action, even animated. I
was
didn't think I
wild.
would see this, right? It was
That was
absolutely
wild.
crazy. The Dark
That's true.
Aster, the head statue of the Living Tribunal. This episode was absolutely fucking crazy. And I can't wait to see what the finale is going to do. There's so much for them to wrap up. They need to wrap up with Mobius' storyline with B15 and C20, the TVA. We need to know what's going to happen with Sylvie and Loki. We need to know what happens to our Loki at the end of this. Where does Kid Loki go at the end of this? Alioth, does he just stay there? Do they set him free? Does he escape out into the universe? And that's how he becomes an Omega level threat to the Avengers later on. There's so many questions, bro. And I love it. This is what I love as a comic book fan. To get something and to just have so many fucking questions because I don't know which way it's gonna go, right? So I am loving this Loki series. It's some of the best shit that I've ever seen in the MCU.
Wait, JB, what if they do release Alioth, and that's why Kang steps in a bit earlier than normal, because it's like, oh crap, this mug is free.
Well,
yes.
The reason why I don't think that is because technically where they are is the end of time, because that's where they're sending everything. So
Yeah,
maybe
but go ahead,
Alioth
Steve,
is so
sorry.
strong that he's causing the end of time.
No, it's like a kind of pocket dimension. It just stops. It's a void, so he can't even go past that.
Yeah.
But if they do set him free, and then he could start all the way at the beginning of time and start eating everything up, man, and that's why Kang shows up. Damn.
Yeah, because Steve,
I mean,
it's because remember how we're in the end of time, so time is still being written. So we're at the end of time. We're at the void. So if he escapes, he could leave and go to the beginning of time, and Kang could appear actually earlier. So I do like this idea because it could be true, because Alive was just there eating things just to make himself big enough. But now it's big enough, and if he escapes or if he gets let go, he could go wherever he wants, because I wonder if he has his own mind right now, or he has been being like a guard dog right now, as we know so far. But now that if he lets go of the enchantment, does he get his freedom back? If that's the case, because maybe King Loki was having control of Olive the whole time.
Yeah,
because
man,
a possible future storyline is that you have you do it in a show that can focus on Renslayer and how she's trying to battle this, and bring in the young Avengers. That's who will team up to help her fight this Alive. Again, you don't have to make it as big as his comic version. You could still kind of nerf him down to be like, all right, the young Avengers can handle this. It's possible, I wouldn't mind it. Oh man, now I'm hoping for a giant Roomba to be free. Damn.
Yeah, man, like it can get really, really crazy, man. But this was a lot of fun. I fucking love talking to you guys. The whole crew will be back. We will also have Aaron from Black Anime Podcast on the finale episode as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. So Steve, where can the people find you online?
You can find me everywhere on Twitter and Instagram, at least Scuba Steve 1428. Follow the ItMod page, and then it's a link tree, and then that'll be another way you can reach me if you want to just follow the ItMod page. So yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is your humble servant, not really your humble servant, Prince ALawal, Prince Issue of the Blood Mist, aka Son of Darkseid. Apparently a TL villain. Well, not apparently, definitely a TL villain from the shadows. You can find me on Twitter at Prince_ALAWAL. You can also find me on Twitch. I started streaming. I'm revamping my content a little bit as I start to get more used to this new endeavor. So definitely go follow me on Twitch. If you follow me on Twitter, follow the OSA and A podcast on Twitter. So that's OSA_A podcast. Definitely check out the OSA and A podcast. I actually just dropped a film review of Fear Street 1994. So definitely check that out. I will have a review of Fear Street 1978 out to you by Monday. Of course, check out Inside the Mind with Blerd. I'm also on there. Visit our Twitter page. I run the Twitter account at the Blerd Mind Pod. that is it, right? The Blerd Mind Pod. I believe that's what it is. The Blerd Mind Pod. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, help me
the
here.
Blerd Mind Pod.
Just, like, I'm struggling. Okay.
I was on mute.
So follow at the Blerd Mind Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Head over to our link tree so you can go buy our merch. We have merchandise. Definitely go support that. And OSED 8 merch is coming in October. I'm just letting you know that right now. I'm really excited getting that underway. Just had a meeting the other day with my supplier. Got the logistics down. Just working on what colors I want to provide to you guys. So definitely check that out. Wait on that. And as always, JB, Vash, thank you. Thank you for having us. Man, this joint is just so fun. I've had a lot of fun. I look forward to Friday nights so much more now because I'm like, yo, it's Villains time. Like, we about to have some fun, talk about shit that we love, shit that we can geek about, nerd about as people of color first and foremost. Like, this joint is lit. So thank you again. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
You can find all the links to OSNA podcast, Inside of the Mind of the Blerd podcast. Everything is in the description. I have them all separate and the link tree as well. So make it pretty easy for you guys. Just go to the description. You can click on those links. Buy the merch. Support these guys. These guys make amazing content. They're very knowledgeable. They do the research before they come on these shows to make sure that we give you guys good content. So support them. Black is in the chat too. Make sure you guys support him as well. You guys can find me all over social media at JB Exclusive and of course at C4 Spoilers. Find absolutely everything that I do. Go to carefulwithspoilers.com. We also just launched our merch store. So if you go to the website, you can click on the tab that says merch. We have some shirts, some hoodies,
I gotta go
some
grab
stickers on there.
Yeah.
So if you want to support us until we get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube where we can start monetization, check us out on the merch store and the Patreon. Support us over there. Vash, where can the people find you online?
Big shout out first to one thing and foremost to Spicy Lady Gaming. She's right now live on Twitch,
huge
twitch.tv/Spicy Lady Gaming. Go check her out because all of us, the panel here has been multitasking at the same time. For those that have not noticed, all of us, every single one of all four of us have been multitasking. Talking.
Except I have no idea what she's saying because I have
no idea.
My volume on mute. I'm just hopping in the chat, just saying words.
I'm replying to the messages in chat. I can't.
Right, that's all I'm doing.
So I guess it's just me and Steve then, because me and Steve, we actually listened to what she's saying because I replied to what she's saying. So I'm listening to y'all and her.
Lady,
go Spicy.
So shout out to her.
Yo, seriously, Spicy's the homie. Support her. Head over to her Twitch. Subscribe to the channel. Send some bits, do all that shit. Make sure you subscribe to her Patreon too. She has some really dope exclusive shit on the Patreon. So subscribe. Make sure you guys support the homie.
And if you guys have a Amazon Prime, it's free, my guys. Just Amazon Prime. She's your best content out there right there. So Amazon Prime, just put it, because that's what I did. While I was live on the show here, I put my Amazon Prime there. I'm like, you know what? Let me put that. In the next month, I'll just use my own $4.99.
Look how many of us are subscribers,
it's a cup of coffee.
We stand users out here, baby. Stand users out here, baby.
But other than that, follow Spicy Lady at Gaming. Follow her Twitter and her social media as well. But follow me at Legendary Vash for a couple of reasons. Because follow at Anime Lately for a couple of reasons. Because by August 31st, I'll be finishing Hunter x Hunter.
Maybe.
For some goddamn reason. If you guys want to find out why, go check out the Anime podcast. Why? No, I will be finishing Hunter x Hunter because you guys are not going to be taking any of my goddamn waifus. Hell nah.
We'll see.
If y'all do, I'm going to go to your house and stabbing y'all. That's what's going to be happening. Nah. And also, there's, like James mentioned, there's a merch store. Go check out. Me and James also have to have more merch store. We're going to be having a conversation of what's going to be popping out there. So definitely check out. There might be a shirt of saying Glorious Purpose of me and James just doing this, like Glorious Purpose out there.
Glorious Purpose is about to be your phrase from now on. Like, is that what we're going to get all the time? From Vash.
Hey, you guys laugh. You guys laugh at the way I did it. My segues are good for Glorious Purpose. And last thing. There's an Anime Lately giveaway because we reached episode 100, so definitely check it out. Don't forget, tweet at Anime Lately giveaway where you will get a manga or webtoon. And for each of those, there's 2 winners. You'll get a Pokemon card as well from Ray Apollo. So definitely stay tuned for that, guys. You have until July 29th on episode 104. We will be announcing the winner that night. So those 2 winners mean that guys will be picking 2 random winners. So definitely stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for all your support of the C4 spoilers and for the Anime Lily team. We appreciate all that you guys give, and thank you very much.
Oh, and wait, there might actually be a surprise. JB, I might have a idea, JB and Vash, for next week for the last episode of Loki. I might, I'll talk business with you. We'll see. All right. But hey,
Copy.
tune in next week.
Yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned. Make sure you're following us on social media, because Abe and I are going to be doing a lot more collab giveaways. Like, whenever you start doing more stuff on, like, Osa and Abe on, like, Twitch and stuff, like, let me know, because I want to help in any way that I can to help build out your brand, man. Like, you guys make really great content, like I said. All of the links are in the description. Again, support Black. He's here in chat as well. Black, if you don't mind, like, throw your socials in the
Mixer,
chat.
Baby. But all a subsidiary of the It Mob Corporation that is going to take over the world.
And for those that want to be watching, gonna be watching my Hunter x Hunter live streams, is twitch.tv/animelady, where you'll be finding out every single week that Vash will be watching Hunter x Hunter, because he will not be taking the waifus from me. So definitely go
and then go on hiatus. Don't worry about it. Don't get your hopes up.
No, because technically nobody finished Hunter x Hunter. Nobody finished, so technically I will not be finishing either. So technically I already watch it. Just saying.
Whatever. 6 episodes is not watching it. Anyways,
glorious purpose out here, guys.
Anyways, like I said before, follow all of these amazing content creators. Once we're done here, everyone that's here in this chat, jump over to Spicy Stream. I'm gonna jump over there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys in chat make this show worth doing every single week, and I'm not bullshitting you guys. I fucking love every single one of you. Thank you for making it possible for us to make this content, and yeah, see you guys on the next one.